Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. I'm going to start kind of taking attendance here. Okay, Monique, Allison, Angel. Yes. Angel, Monique. Hello, everybody. Jeff, Scott. Y'all, feel free to take yourselves off mute and chat amongst yourselves. We'll do some introductions and everything here in just a sec.
Everyone.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Rigo and Kimberly are here. Yes. So I have a 2-year-old, and anytime I have to say yes, there's a CoComelon song that's like, yes. Eat bananas or whatever it is. And so it's like, yes, it's like always in my head. Like,
I get that. I have a baby nephew, and the amount of children's songs that I'm learning just in this 1 year.
Yeah. And they just, I mean, that's the whole point, is that they stick in your head, but oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Brittany.
I just adopted a kitten, so it feels like I have a 2-year-old.
Yeah, teach it CoComelon and then welcome everybody. We're just kind of chatting for another minute or so. Everybody is coming on.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
We'll do
Hello.
introductions
Hello.
in just a second once we get everybody in. Some of you know each other from work. Some of you know each other from previous table reads. It's just now 5 o'clock. Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Are you still in New York?
I am. Yes. It's dark now. It's light out in Arizona right now, I'm assuming.
Just barely. Yeah, we're catching the end.
And under 100 degrees. Woohoo!
Oh, yes. That's always nice.
It's been brutal. It's been a brutal fall. Not enjoying it at all.
Is Arizona weather better or worse than LA in terms of like
Worse.
A lot, yeah.
Worse.
Way hotter.
LA is perfect, just
Yes.
weather-wise. Perfect.
Yeah, I wish it would get a little cooler now that it's October, but ultimately I can't complain.
Even in the valley, it's not bad compared to here. There's Morgan and Katelyn.
Arizona's pretty perfect though, like 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
It's just rough for
Yeah, somebody asked me today, do you like living in Phoenix? And I'm like, don't ask me right now.
Yeah.
Wait until like February, March, and then I'll have a different answer for you.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's see, who just came in? Morgan and Katelyn, I think. Katelyn, yes, there's Katelyn. There's Steve. Admit. Okay, we're waiting for Michelle, Anthony, Amy, Marquise, and Evan. Monique, you might have a bunch of parts to read. Hopefully not all of those people, because one of them's our lead. Makes me nervous when people aren't on time. No, don't mean to call anybody out, but I get very nervous. Anxious. Maybe that's a better word, anxious.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like when you're doing a show and it's 10 minutes before curtain and your co-star hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Like that for sure.
I'm fortunate enough to not have experienced that, but that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, no, it's in it long enough.
Yeah, I'm sure
People
one day.
weed themselves out by,
Yeah.
you know, by that kind of stuff. And then, of course, this is a class, so people kind of don't take it as seriously. There's Amy. Admit. Hi, Amy. We can wait 2 more minutes and then I'm gonna start maybe recasting here. Hello, hello, everybody, as we come on in. Get to know each other. Yes, yes, yes. To know each other. Anthony and Marquise and Michelle, where are you?
This looks like wine. It's Diet Coke.
I wouldn't judge you if it was. Highly recommend the Tipsy Casting podcast if you guys don't listen to it.
It's funny, I just drank my Diet Coke out of a wine glass as well, so I get
Oh,
that.
just had to get the kind of late afternoon
Yeah, exactly.
bump. Yeah.
I have a lot of lines to read, so I need some caffeine.
Yes, yes, you do. Let's see. Four, 5, 7, 8. Okay. Hang on, I'm texting some folks real quick to see where they are. Anthony. Okay, one more person to text. And actually 2 more, but I don't have Evan. Michelle, or excuse me, Monique. Do you have Evan Fahey's phone number?
I don't know. I don't have his number.
Because he never returned my emails and confirmed. So I emailed him like a gajillion times. And never confirmed, which is unlike a signature person. So not sure what's going on there. Okay, well, we're gonna do a little bit of recasting here. Monique, go ahead and read your lieutenant, which is kind of at the end. It's only 1 line. Desk attendants, which is a whole page scene. And Ron. Okay, so you'll have to do your best male manager voice. Okay, so he has a pretty decent scene in there.
Okay.
And then since I technically am cast as Madam Beals, even though I'm not prepared for this table read, I'm gonna just go ahead and give her a read and be her. Although I'm sad that Michelle's not here because I wanted to listen to the table read. So we're just gonna play it that way. Any objections to that? Nope, it is what it is, yeah? Okay. So that's the new thing there. We're recording. Fantastic. Well, welcome everybody to the Killer Moves table read. I'm Ashley Atwood. I am an Emmy-nominated actress and producer and the director of the Desert Playhouse. And this is the Desert Playhouse Presents Series. So what we're doing is every month we're doing 2 table reads of plays or scripts or films or pilots or whatever the month theme happens to be. This month's theme is obviously horror films, because it's October, we got to do it. Last table read was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was a lot of fun diving into a classic, right? Like it's a classic at this point, even though it was 1984. And so this time we're doing a brand new horror film that's not been produced yet. It is literally in development, I guess is a better word for it. It's not pre-production yet, but in development. And so it'll be interesting to compare and contrast the huge hit of A Nightmare on Elm Street to this brand new script. All right. Next month, we are doing Network Drama Month. So we are doing a pilot next time called A Million Little Things, written by DJ Nash. It was on ABC. There are a lot of parts. There's 21 parts. So if you are interested in submitting, some of you already have, please send me your headshot, resume, and demo, and I will find a scene for you to audition with. Now, we practice these auditions as if they're real auditions, right? So same thing as if you were submitting to a casting director. What headshot would you want to submit? What demo clip would you want to submit? All of that kind of stuff. It's practice for you, for your professional career. We go through it. I see all of the auditions, and I offer one free audition review. Who's had their audition review already? A couple of you had. Did you find it helpful?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So one free one, and then any others of you can get one for every audition that you give me. It's just $25 after that. So we'll sit one-on-one for half an hour, go through your thing, see what your headshot did, go beat by beat, and see how we could improve your auditions. What's good, what hit, what didn't. May have been just a freaking great audition and you got auditioned. Who knows, right? Like, but we'll go through all of that. Okay, it's a lot of fun. So other classes that I have the Monday night Zoom audition practice. So if you have an audition that you want to practice, just come on for $25 and we practice our auditions. Okay. Then we have the Talent Launch Bootcamp. For those of you that do not have materials, this is so much fun. Okay. It's an 8-week course, 7 weeks of rehearsals via Zoom with me as I produce 2 micro short films for you. I find scripts, and then I hire a soundstage, I hire a professional crew, I hire professional equipment, I hire professional actors across from you, and we shoot you one drama, one comedy scenes, scripts, short films, and we use them for your demos, and you get 2 headshots by Vani Poye Photography, and a one-on-one sit down with a LA talent manager that's going to come in and kind of give you a look over your casting profiles, giving you some next steps. We did have somebody get recruited from the last boot camp from that same talent manager. She picked him up. So, not that that's a promise, but it's moving in that direction. So that's the Talent Launch Bootcamp. If you want more information on that, obviously hit me up. That's our baby. It only happens once a year in the summertime. Okay, so rehearsals start May 7th for that, and in June is when we go to LA. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So those are the classes. That's the Desert Playhouse that we have right now. We're gonna have a break at 6:30 for pee if you need to pee or fill your water bottle. So just kind of keep that in mind. We have a special guest, Matt. Go ahead and introduce yourself. He is the director of Killer Moves. And so he is going to come in and listen to the table read as well. Matt, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. This story was my idea. I'm a huge fan of the original Flashdance and all those kind of 80s movies. And I do like classic low budget horror movies. So I was thinking something that you can actually produce for not too expensive locally, probably in Arizona. Shoot it in maybe I was gonna do it at the end of the year because obviously it's not gonna happen. But yes, hopefully sometime in 2025. And then I hope to get it distributed. That's the plan.
Awesome. Always the plan, right? Get it
Yes.
seen. That's always the plan. Let's get it seen. So what do we need to do? Awesome. So that he's here to hear the table read and the feedback afterwards. He knows it's going to be kind of like a focus group, and the feedback may not all be positive, right? But that's okay. As long as it's constructive, we're going to have a good time. We're all going to learn as actors, and he's going to learn as the director of the film. Yeah. Let's go ahead and introduce yourselves. I should have put in here in the chat this cast. Hang on one second. Put in the chat. Where's my chat? All of my casts. So go ahead when you see your name in order of the chat here. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let me just get you copied and pasted. Oh, Steve's logged back in. Okay, so use the chat order to introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jeff Castle, and I was born and raised in LA, where I got my acting start 30 years ago. And also a lot of what I do is hosting. So that's why I like the role of the narrator. Thank you.
Who you are, where you're from, and what role you're playing for sure. Go ahead. Allison. You're muted, babe.
Of course I'm muted. I always do that. I am an LA-based actress. I actually grew up as a dancer, and I love slasher films, so I was so excited for this. I am playing Jennifer, and I see a lot of myself in her, like the ambition and the drive, and it's just really, it's a fun challenge.
Michelle is not here, so I'm going to be reading the role of Madame Beals. Steve, your turn. I know you kind of had to pop off for a sec.
Yeah, I had some audio issues. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
I love this script. Amazing script. In fact, I was reading it. I had to go to Arizona this past week. I was reading it with the script. I just almost, I was like, what? It caught me off guard. I love this role of Mike Macey. I mean, he has character about him, but he pretty much goes at his own pace. He's his own person. I kind of like that guy. He's seen it. He's been there. He's done that. But I love the storyline on this. So
awesome. So
awesome
we got through that. Steve is Mike Macey. Steve, where are you based?
I'm actually was based out of Arizona as of 5 months ago, and now I'm in Blanchard, America.
Blanchard, America. Where's that?
Blanchard, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
But my agent is out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
So,
Rigo.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rigo Castillon. I'm playing the role of Troy, and just like Allison, I love slasher films. Many moons ago, I used to be a ballet dancer, so there's just a lot of like things lining up, and I love this script too. I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, who done it? Who was it? So, yeah, nice to meet everybody.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kimberly. This is a first table read for me, so I'm excited to be here. I'm originally from Chicago. I've been a personal trainer now for over 15 years. I now live in New Mexico. I'm with Signature Models and Talent. I've been with them for, I don't know, about 5 or 6 months now. And oh my God, all the dancers here. Flashdance, when I saw that movie, that made me want to be a dancer. So I got to be a professional dancer for 10 years. I danced for the group LFO, if you remember that Summer Girls song that was back in the day. And now just really kind of, this is where my head is at now, getting into commercial, TV, film work. And I'm so excited to be here. I'm on cloud 9 today. So thanks for having me. And yeah, it's good to meet everybody.
Anthony is not here. So Amy, your turn.
Hi, I'm Amy. I live in Tucson. I'm with Signature Models and Talent as well. Nice to see so many Signature people here. And I danced a long time ago. I'm kind of getting back into it with some stretch classes now, which is exciting. So I like that this script is kind of a combination of like Center Stage, if you remember that movie back in late 90s, I think, and then Scream. It just makes me think of like both of those kind of mixed together, and that's exciting. I do some campy horror movie shorts with my friends here in Tucson, so this is gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
All right. Scott.
Hi, I'm Scott. This is also my first table read, so very exciting. And again, I also love horror films and I love slashers. They're like my weird comfort movie that I turn on when I just like want to like relax, which is a way to funny way to describe it. I'll be playing Monica. I'm based in Tacoma, Washington, and I've always joked with my friends I'd love to be an opening kill. So very, very happy with the role of Monica.
So Scott read for a different role, and his audition made me go, I think he'd be interesting as Monica, but as a man Monica. He's not trying to play a girl. He's not going to be trying to play a woman, but he's a male dancer, and to be named maybe something else, or maybe he just likes the name Monica. Who knows? But he's going to go. He's going to be reading. Brittany.
Hello, my name is Brittany Brown. I'll be playing Caren. Very excited. And I am based in Phoenix, Arizona. Been acting for a while now. I love it. And I love horror movies too. Maybe not my go-to for comfort, but definitely this time of year, I like to indulge.
I'm Katelyn. This is also my first table read. I'm actually maybe one of the only East Coasters. I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I've been performing off and on my whole life, a little bit more of a singer, but trying to get back into acting. But I actually currently work with people with disabilities and really just trying to get back in the field of acting. And I am reading for Beth.
Hi, everybody. I'm Morgan. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. So hi, Kimberly. And I'm currently in Atlanta. I've been here for 9 years now. This is my first table read with the Playhouse, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. I never liked horror films until I actually started acting, and I'm like, oh my God, guys, none of this is real. So yeah. So I've been acting for 9 years, as long as I've been in Atlanta, and I do a lot of plays and things like that. So I really want to learn how to transition to film and television.
Hello, I'm Angel. I grew up in Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia area, Katelyn. So opposite side, but same state. Grew up dancing, doing theater. What, Amy, you too?
Yeah, I didn't know that about you. But yeah,
girl. No wonder I like you so much. You're a Pennsylvanian. Yeah, so I danced, I did theater, musicals, and all of that. And I just got into film and commercials maybe 5 years ago. And I'm based in Phoenix with Signature, and I'm playing the call girl today.
And Marquise didn't show up, nor did Evan. So Monique, go ahead and tell us about your.
My name is Monique Michelle. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona, and I've been acting for 2 years. I love it. This is my second table read with the Playhouse. Yay! And I'm reading the lieutenant, the desk attendant, and Ron. Is that right?
Yep. Awesome. Or anything else that we go, oh, that didn't get cast. So I'm always gonna, especially after our experience last time, cast a swing. And that's what Monique was cast as. Last time she played our lead, or the mom lead. And so I knew she could handle any part that was thrown at her. So she kind of got the swing and showed up with like, who knows what's gonna happen. And she just got thrown three different roles. So that's what our swing is. So if you ever do a table reading, you get cast as a swing, that's what that is. Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to hold us up. Let's get started. Any questions? No? Keep your cameras on, please, but mute your mic if you've got long breaks between your scenes. Okay. Jen and Mike and myself may not need to be muted as often, but just go ahead and pay attention to that. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. This is Killer Moves, written by Mark. How do you say Tuitt? Is that right? Tuitt, Matt? Mark?
Yeah, it's Tuitt. Yeah, he's a screenwriter from Canada.
Okay, written by Mark Tuitt. And let's do this.
All right. Interior apartment, day. Monica is a young dancer, fit and pretty. She sits in a chair in front of a mirror and adjusts her hair into braids. She opens a jewelry box where a dancer figurine begins to twirl to the music. Close on the dancing figurine. The title, Killer Moves are superimposed next to the dancer for a few minutes. Monica retrieves a gold necklace with a gold heart pendant attached to it. She drapes it around her neck and smiles in approval.
Perfect.
She stands up and uses one hand to snap shut the music box. The sound traditions us to cut to exterior street. Moments later, the door opens to an apartment building as Monica exits and strolls down the sidewalk. Cut to exterior street. Moments later, wide of Monica turning the corner of a block and approaching the dance studio. Outside, a sign hangs. Beals Dance Studio. Monica enters the front door. Cut to interior. Beals Studio. Continuous. Monica enters and notices that there's no one attending the front desk.
Hello, Madam Beals?
Silence. She shrugs it off and enters the change room where she slips off her sweatpants and sweater into her dance wear. She hangs up her bag, then exits into the main studio. Within the main studio are a bank of mirrors and an open space for dance practice. On the opposite facing wall are 5 masks representing the 5 dancing deities in mythology. Terpsichore, Greek goddess, Amenozume no Mikoto, Japanese goddess, Baal Markad, Syrian god, Apsaras, Cambodian goddess, Shiva Nahara, Indian god. Beside the main door is a sign that reads, "No jewelry while dancing." Monica scoffs as she clasps the pendant for comfort and confidence.
Some rules are meant to be broken.
She removes a CD from the stacked collection on a shelf beside the CD player and loads a disc. She presses play, then struts to the middle of the room and positions herself in a pose, waiting for the music to start. The speakers begin to pump upbeat, pulse-pounding music. Monica sways and flows as she works her way into the energy of the beat. Wide of Monica's energetic dance. She's good and nimble as she dances and leaps through the routine. She finally comes to a section of a routine where she fumbles. She falls to the floor, defeated and breathing heavily.
Fuck.
She pulls herself up and walks over to the CD player and starts the song again. She repositions herself in the middle of the room, regulates her breathing, and waits for the song to begin. Close on the speaker. Just as the first note vibrates the mid-bass woofer, the music carries to smash cut to exterior, dairy factory, day, continuous. Wide on the doors of the factory and a parking lot. A loud buzzer indicates quitting time. One of the exit doors bursts open to reveal Jennifer, young and fit, sprinting out of the door to her car. She tosses her backpack in the back, gets in the car, and peels out of the parking lot. Cut to interior, car, day, continuous. The same music plays through her car radio as she speeds to her destination. She looks to the city blocks and looks up at the traffic lights.
On green lights.
Cut to interior, Beals studio, continuous. Monica is attempting a routine again. She's becoming agitated, but is pushing hard for perfection. Once again, the section in question causes her to fumble and she crashes to the ground.
Motherfucker!
As her discipline dictates, she pulls herself off the floor and restarts the CD. She moves to the center of the room and assumes her first position.
You got this, girl.
Close on, speaker as the music starts. Pan to, through the reflections of the mirror, Monica dances the routine again. Soon it comes to the challenging part, and a loud pounding at the door causes her to fumble once again.
Fuck!
She gets up, turns off the CD, and angrily marches to the front of the studio. Cut 2. Exterior, Beals studio, contiguous. The front door whips open as Monica blurts.
What?
Outside is Jennifer, somewhat taken aback.
Hi, I'm here for the audition.
Monica
What
gives her the
audition?
once-over.
Sorry. What audition?
Jennifer fishes a flyer out of her back pocket and shows it to Monica.
The Dance of the Five Goddesses. I just broke at least 5 traffic violations to get here before 5. You see, I work at the dairy factory and they let me skip out early for the audition.
Dairy factory? What do you do? Milk the cows?
Jennifer chuckles.
No, the process is automated now. I just work in shipping and receiving. It's a good workout.
Monica glances at the flyer and scoffs.
Well, it seems you're a day early. The 22nd of September is tomorrow.
Horrified, Jennifer flips the flyer and reads it.
Jeez, I'm sorry. It's my bad.
You interrupted my routine.
Again, my apologies. I must have let the excitement get to me.
Ambition is a bitch.
So they say.
Monica gives Jennifer the once-over again and decides to take pity on her.
Listen, I'll put you on the list for auditions tomorrow.
Monica steps back into the building and retrieves a clipboard. Jennifer brightens up.
That would be amazing. I would owe you one.
Yes, you would.
Monica removes the pen from the holder on the clipboard.
First name?
Jennifer Jones.
We only take first names here for auditions. Best not to get too attached.
Okay.
What time?
5:30.
We close at 5.
Shit. My shift ends at 5.
Cut early. You want to dance or what?
I guess I'll have to. Okay, mark me down for 4:30.
4:30 it is.
She marks it on the schedule.
Good luck.
She retreats into the building and slams the door shut on Jennifer. Jennifer shrugs and walks away.
Rude.
Cut 2. Interior. Beals studio. Continuous. Monica tosses the clipboard on the front of the reception desk and walks back to the studio.
Amateur.
Back in the studio, she pauses the CD and prepares herself.
If that's the level of competition, this audition will be a breeze.
She presses play and performs the dance again. This time, she nails the part in question.
Got it.
She begins a victory dance around the studio before she notices that one of the masks on the wall is missing. She pauses and looks around the room.
Where'd you disappear to?
In the reflection of the mirror, she spots it. However, it's placed on someone's face. Monica quickly turns around to face the black-garbed figure wearing the mask.
You scared the shit out of me.
She chuckles nervously. Monica looks at the large clock mounted on the wall.
I've still got another 15 minutes.
She points to the hallway.
Check the booking.
The masked figure struts past Monica and finds a new CD and places it into the player. Monica is miffed.
Not sure what this is about, but if it's my block, then it's my music.
The figure presses play and loud choral music begins to pump from the speakers. The figure begins to dance as it prances to the far end of the room and acquires several ribbons. The figure makes its way back to Monica and dances around her.
Sorry, dude, I'm not into partners. I'm a solo dancer.
The figure begins to wrap Monica in the various ribbon, and before she realizes it, she's swaddled, completely bound and confined by the ribbon.
Hey, I'm not comfortable with this.
The figure then dances to one of the overhead ceiling fans and tosses the ribbon into its fan blades.
I'm going to report you to the owner if you don't stop fucking around.
The figure then dances to the bank of switches and points to the fan switch.
Don't you dare!
The figure does and flips the switch. Close on, the ribbon being wound into the fan's rotating blades. Close on, Monica's feet being yanked into the air. Close on, her necklace falling to the floor. Fade out. Interior, dairy factory, day. Jennifer's hard at work. She packs yellow milk crates with smaller gallon cartons and stacks them on a skid. She looks around for a moment to see if anyone is watching before she conspicuously slips an ear pod under her long hair in the left ear. She fishes her phone out of her back pocket and finds a playlist. Music swells as she works to the beat, lifting crate after crate. She works up a sweat, but she's in her happy place. A loud whistle indicates lunch break. She discreetly removes the earpiece and walks towards the break room door. Cut to interior, dairy factory, break room, day. Jennifer is eating a large homemade salad out of a Tupperware bowl as she's back to listening to music, only this time watching her phone as well. Another worker, Jane, sits beside her, noticing Jennifer is jamming to something.
Girl, what are you grooving to?
Jennifer speaks in a loud tone as people do when they are plugged into media.
It's a new dance I created for an audition I'm going to.
Jennifer flashes her phone to Jane and gives her an earbud to listen to. On phone is Jennifer's dance. It's fast, funky, and vibrant. Jane is suitably impressed.
Holy shit! I had no idea. Girl, you've got talent to spare.
Jennifer smiles and nods.
I know.
They continue watching.
What the hell are you doing working here?
Dancing don't pay the rent yet.
You'll nail the audition with this routine, I'm sure of it.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Jane gives her thumbs up. As they watch the video, the manager enters the room holding a clipboard. This is Ron, suited, sweaty, and obviously anxious.
Excuse me, everyone. May I have your attention?
Half of the room responds. He shakes his head and places 2 fingers in his mouth for a loud whistle.
Eyes towards me, please.
He has everyone's attention.
One of our 18-wheelers jackknifed on the way to Albuquerque, so we're short on that run. I'm going to need everyone to stay for 2 extra hours so we can keep the schedule on that milk run.
Everybody groans.
I'm extending this lunch break by half an hour so you can make the arrangements with your family for the delay. Much appreciated.
He about faces and leaves the room before anyone can comment and complain. Jennifer looks to Jane.
This is bullshit.
She stands up.
If I miss that audition, they will never let me dance.
She exits the break room and catches up with the manager.
Hey, Ron.
She steps in front of his path.
I was wondering if I could come in early tomorrow instead of staying late. In fact, I wanted to leave at 4, but I'll make up the time tomorrow.
No can do. That new truck has to be on the road by 6 or it'll never make it for the morning delivery. That means every child in the city will be without milk for their morning breakfast. We don't want that, do we?
Of course not.
What's so important anyway?
I have an audition for a new dance studio. I think I have a good chance.
She flashes her phone with a routine on it. He watches for a moment.
You're good.
He rubs his chin as he ponders.
Tell you what, as soon as that truck is loaded, you can go. I've seen you hustle. If you bust ass, you just might make it.
Jennifer sports a determined face and nods.
That truck is as good as loaded.
She marches back to her station, places her earbuds in, and begins to speed load the pallets. She loads at a breakneck speed, loading pallet after pallet. Her co-workers watch in amazement.
Come on, people, pick up the pace. I've got places to be.
They pitch in, all working at her pace. Dissolve to interior, dairy factory, day. Jennifer's packing the last pallet, then pauses for a moment. She looks up at the clock, 4:20.
Shit.
She looks up at Ron, who's been watching all this time. He smiles and gives her a thumbs up.
You did it. Good luck.
She smiles and nods before she sprints towards the change room. Cut to interior, Beals' studio, continuous. The door to the main studio opens to the hallway where several dancers await their auditions. Madame Beals steps out. She's an older dancer, owner of the studio, and heavily disabled. She walks with 2 metal crutch supports as she feeble legs can no longer support her frail body. She carries the clipboard as she mounts her reading glasses.
Jennifer Jones, you're next.
She looks around the room as the other dancers look to each other.
Jennifer Jones, please present yourself.
She scans the room. Silence.
I'll ask one more time. Miss Jones, are you present?
Tension builds.
Well, it seems Miss Jones has more important matters to attend to.
Close, as a pencil scratches Jennifer's name from the list.
Is there a Caren Kane present?
A petite dancer, Caren, jumps up in enthusiasm.
Save the energy for the routine, my dear.
Madame Beals shuffles back into the main studio with the young dancer and closes the door. Cut to exterior, dairy factory, day. Once again, Jennifer bursts out of the door and sprints to her car. Inside, she peels out of the parking lot. Cut to interior, Beals' studio, continuous. Inside the main dance studio, Caren finishes tying up her dance slippers and stands up. She notices the masks on the wall. One is missing.
Creepy. Left over from Halloween or something?
The sort. They represent deities of dance.
What's a deity?
A god or goddess?
You should throw up one of Michael Jackson. Now there's a dance god.
She scoffs.
Man was a charlatan, excuse me. He stole his best routines from the great Bob Fosse.
Was that his uncle or something?
You may begin when you see fit.
It's Caren. Caren Kane.
She rolls her eyes.
Yes, yes. Get on with it.
Caren removes a CD from her backpack and loads it. She presses play and walks to the center of the room. The music begins, and it's a bass, heavy hip-hop. Caren begins a high-energy dance performance, a fusion of hip-hop, crump, and some classical ballet thrown in for good measure. There's no question that the girl can dance. She completes the routine in a breakneck dance pose on the floor, smiling at the madam. Madame Beals doesn't know what to make of it.
What do you think?
Well, there's a saying. Youth is wasted on the youth. You certainly have a lot of energy, and I can appreciate how you incorporated several styles into your routine. However, your point work could use some practice.
Point work?
Madam sighs as she struggles to get up.
Google it. I'm tired, and you can let yourself out.
Caren shrugs and gathers her belongings and exits the studio. Cut to exterior, Beals' studio, continuous. Caren pulls out her phone and begins walking. Close on, she's in the Google app and types in point work. The various responses reply that it's about being on one's tiptoes for an extended period of time.
Tiptoes? Why the fuck didn't she say so?
Caren steps off the curb between the two cars and onto the road as she's looking down at her phone. A loud screech of tires suddenly breaking to a halt shocks Caren. She looks up from her phone to see Jennifer at the wheel, in her car, mere feet away from Caren. Caren throws up her hands.
What the fuck?
Jennifer, just as traumatized, leans out of her window.
Get off your fucking phone.
Caren assumes an aggressive stance in front of Jennifer's vehicle.
I was researching something, dumbass.
She holds up her phone screen to Jennifer.
Do you even know what point work is?
Yeah, it's a technique where a dancer supports her weight on her toes.
Caren flips her finger as she passes.
No one likes a know-it-all.
She crosses the street. Jennifer's too much of a rush to care about Caren. She quickly parks, grabs her backpack, and sprints to the dance studio. Outside the studio, it's locked. She hesitates to knock due to her second error. She spots the hours of operation.
Back.
Jennifer walks back to her car and drives away. Cut to exterior, Lakeside Park, later. Caren is walking by the Lakeside Park on her phone. She's talking to her best friend, Beth.
You were totally right about the finishing move. The breakdance finale left her breathless. I mean, her eyes were rolling back into her skull like she'd seen the second coming of Christ or something.
So you got it.
Practically. She said I had a lot of energy and something about my youth being wasted. But other than that, I blew her away.
Like I said you would, girl, you are the original dancing queen.
You know it.
A shadow flashes behind her. She feels the wind on her neck. She whips her head around to see what's there.
What the fuck?
What's going on?
I think someone is following me.
A shadow flashes behind her again. Caren.
No. No.
She's scared.
Just keep talking on the phone. That's the new thing when a woman is talking and walking alone. Pretend to be talking on the phone to your mother. That way, if the stalker has children, he'll empathize with you and leave you alone.
Caren looks around nervously.
Okay, Mom. I love you too. Say hi to Dad and feed the dog for me.
That's good. You've covered all your bases. Mom and Dad and pets. He's bound to leave you alone now.
Caren speeds up her pace.
Give my love to Grandma and Grandpa. Tell them I'll visit them in the nursing home this weekend.
Good. Keep it up. Now talk about your STDs.
What? I don't have any.
It's for the stalker to hear so he doesn't rape you. No one likes an STD.
Oh, and Mom, did you get that cream for my yeast infection? It's getting really, really bad, really red and really itchy.
A black rope suddenly loops around Karen's neck. The noose tightens quickly as she's yanked backwards into the bushes. Her phone drops to the ground.
Good. Now add something about genital warts.
By now, Caren is being dragged to a tree. We now see the figure wearing an Omni mask from the Japanese deity. It drags Caren through the grass, then throws the length of the black rope over a thick branch of the tree. The figure then hoists Caren up, but stops when Caren is on her upmost tippy toes. Caren has just enough strength to support her weight, but just barely. She gasps for air. The Oni figure ties off the rope at the trunk of the tree. Then it walks a few feet in front of Caren. Classical Japanese music begins to play as the Ani performs a traditional dance in front of her. Caren watches as her toes begin to fatigue. With her last breath, she utters,
Fucking weird.
Her neck suddenly snaps. The moonlight catches a shadow of her body slumping forward as the shadow of the Ani dances around her. Exterior, Beals studio, morning. Jennifer drives up the studio and parks. She glances to her watch, then knocks on the studio door. A light illuminates within the studio and Madam opens the door.
Good morning.
Hello. Yes. Good morning. I just wanted to introduce myself and apologize for missing the audition yesterday.
Very well. Let's start with your name, young lady.
Jennifer Jones. I was supposed to be your 4:30 audition, but I work at the dairy factory and one of our trucks jackknifed on the way to Albuquerque. So we had to pull some overtime in order for the milk run to stay on schedule.
Madam Beals looks Jennifer over for a moment.
You definitely know how to spin a yarn. Either it's God's honest truth or you're a spectacular liar. Either way, I'm intrigued. Come in. Plead your case over some tea. I could use the company.
I promise I won't waste your time.
They both enter. Cut to interior, Beals studio, moments later. Jennifer sitting across from the dance teacher. They are sipping on loose leaf tea with various little confectionaries.
So, you like to dance?
I love to dance. Takes me to my happy place.
Yes, but in order to get there, you must invest in a lot of pain and suffering. True dance is not for the weak of heart or strength.
I understand that. I work 8 hours a day lifting crates that would test even the fittest of human beings. Physical pain is not a detriment to me. I actually enjoy it. Some scientific studies reveal that we humans usually exert 40% of our physical ability at any one thing. It's usually when the mind taps out. But in truth, we can push ourselves to our physical limits and beyond.
I'm living proof of that truth. My lifetime of dancing beyond the limits of our mind has left me crippled.
Jennifer looks down at her feet.
I know all about you. I've read every article, seen every performance. You are truly an inspiration. I could only aspire to dance at your level.
It's possible, however, not without sacrifice.
Nothing worthwhile in life is.
Easier said than done, my dear.
Madame Beals collects the cups and tea and places them on a tray. She then gets up and takes it to the counter. She pauses for a moment and picks up Jennifer's teacup and looks at the leaves. Close of, the used tea leaves are on the shape of a skull.
If you'd like, I hold a dance temple on Saturday morning. Today, in fact. You're welcome to participate. I'd like to see you in motion.
That would be divine.
If I see any potential, I'll consider another audition.
I'd appreciate any opportunity to dance in front of you.
Very well. Temple starts in 15 minutes. Wear something comfortable and have fun.
She smiles at Jennifer. Cut to interior, Beals studio later. Mid-dance temple. Extreme slow motion of several dancers swaying and encompass the music and dance of the class. Techno music pumps through the speakers as the girls move to their own individual dance. All modern, all vibrant. However, there seems to be one standout, Jennifer. Her sweat-stained tank top accentuates her well-toned physique as she dances with endless energy. She assumes many various disciplines of dance. Her confidence is off the charts. Madam takes note and focuses her for the most of the dance temple. Cut to interior, Beals studio later. Jennifer exits the main dance studio and walks past the front desk where Madam Beals saying goodbye to the majority of the class. Jennifer lingers. Madam Beals finally notices Jennifer.
Well done, my dear. It seems you're a natural. You dance effortlessly and elegantly. However, I'm going against my better judgment here, so I'll grant you another opportunity to come in and audition. Be here at 5 sharp and show me your routine.
Jennifer is ecstatic.
Thank you so much. I won't let you down.
Or be late.
Madam smiles.
5 sharp.
A loud knock at the door interrupts the women. Madam shuffles with her walking canes to the front door, where a large man in a dark suit waits. This is Macey. He quickly removes a badge from his inner suit pocket.
Sorry to interrupt. I am looking for Madam Beals. I'm Detective Macey.
Good work, detective. You found her. How may I be of help?
Well,
Mike steps in and notices Jennifer.
This is a private matter. Can we go to your office to speak?
Of course, detective. Miss Jones is just leaving.
Jennifer locks eyes with the detective. They have a moment of connection. Mike smiles.
Nice to meet you, Miss Jones.
Likewise.
She smirks as she leaves the studio. Madam Beals clears her throat.
We can converse in the main studio if you'll follow me.
Mike follows her into the main studio, noting her weak and twisted legs.
Is she one of your students?
Not yet. She has an audition this afternoon. I do see promise. She's strong and nimble.
Oh, I see.
He takes out a notepad and jots down some notes.
So, what's her full name?
Really, detective? Isn't that what dating apps are for?
She offers him a seat across from her. She painfully lowers herself onto the chair.
The information is strictly for the case. You see, one of your students was found murdered last night, and another one is reported missing. I mean, at this point in time, everyone in the studio is suspect.
Even me?
Madam Beals scoffs.
Even me?
Oh, of course not. I mean, for obvious reasons, but the murderer was quite strong. They found Caren Kane hanging from a tree at Lakeside Park. At first, we thought it was suicide, but there were signs of a struggle, and her friend was on the phone with her just before the time of her murder. So
Mike flips through some previous notes.
friend said that Caren mentioned that she was being followed. Oh,
Did she give a description of the stalker in question?
sadly, no. It happened quickly. So
Such a shame. Caren had potential.
would you happen to know when you last saw Monica by chance?
Maybe 3 days ago at the auditions. She was helping out. Also, she booked some time in the main studio, but by the time I returned from my physiotherapy session, she was gone.
I see. I'm just curious. What was the audition for?
My son returns to town once a year to perform with the students at a gala performance in the city. He's a world-class dancer. And this year we're going to do a contemporary piece based on Pandora's box.
Where is your son at the moment now?
Chicago. He's just finishing a show and is driving down to stay with me for a few weeks.
Oh, that's very generous of him.
He's a good boy.
Mike points up to the masks on the wall.
Looks like you've got a few of these missing here, I see, huh?
Questionable neighborhood. People take things that don't belong to them. Luckily, we have people like you to keep them in balance.
Well, that's, I guess, a nice way of putting it. Thank you
He
very
slips
much.
his notebook back into his breast pocket.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
He gets up to leave.
As you pass by the front desk, you'll find a sign-in sheet with the participant's full name, phone number, and address. Miss Jones may be included on that list.
Mike smiles.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
He walks to the desk, takes out his notebook, and jots down Jennifer information. Madam Beals watches him and smiles. Cut to interior apartment. Later, Jennifer's dancing up a storm as she practices her routine and moves over and over again. She's fast and sharp. Cut to exterior apartment, continuous. Wide of Jennifer's apartment as we see Mike drive up in his unmarked police car. He stops outside at a vantage point where he can see her apartment. He removes a pair of binoculars and adjusts his view. Close on, the window where Jennifer is dancing behind. He watches for a few moments until a large intrusion blocks his view. As he lowers his binoculars, there's an older lady watching him. She then turns around and spots Jennifer's apartment. Looking back to Mike, she shakes her head and tisks at him. Mike rolls down his window and flashes his badge.
This police business, move along, please.
The old lady reluctantly moves along, muttering under her breath. As Mike returns his gaze to Jennifer's apartment, he notices that the lights are turned off. He lowers his gaze to see Jennifer exit the building and walk toward the studio. He exits the car and follows her on foot. Cut to exterior street. Moments later, we follow Mike as he follows Jennifer. He makes sure to keep a fair distance between them. Block after block, he follows discreetly. She ducks into a store for a moment, then exits and looks his way. She quickly ducks into a storefront, then peers around a wall. She's gone.
Shit.
He quickly sprints into a direction towards the studio. He's running at such a speed he passes her, tucked within a doorway to a shop. She steps out to see him run up the sidewalk. She smiles and slowly follows behind. Mike slows his pace, winded, and realizes that he's lost her. He turns around defeated, only to see her half a block behind him, following.
Sneaky.
Jennifer realizes that she's been caught, then slips into a side alley. Mike runs after her. As he turns into the alley, he sees that it's a dead end, with several dumpsters positioned at various back doors. He's slow to walk and peeks behind every dumpster. As he passes a darkened doorway, Jennifer slips out of the shadows and stealthily walks behind him.
Why are you following me?
Startled, he whips around and draws his weapon. Jennifer easily grabs his wrist and turns the gun from him. The gun falls to the ground. She then moves into a grappling armbar and forces him to the ground as she snaps his arm with ease.
My dad was military and my mom was North American judo champion.
I'm a detective.
So you say. All I saw is some creep following me for blocks, and then when I asked why he's following me, he pulled a gun. No court of law is going to convict a woman in jeopardy followed into an alley if I decide to snap your arm. I'll even pass a polygraph if it comes down to it.
Okay. You made your point. All right.
Answer the question then.
Look, I am a lot of pain right now. If please rephrase the question, all right?
Are you following me?
Listen, one of the students at the dance studio was murdered last night. And there's another one that is missing, all right?
So I'm a suspect.
At the moment, everyone in the city is one right now.
Well, that doesn't make me feel very special.
Listen, can I have my arm back?
She lets go. He stumbles, then retrieves his gun and holsters it. He straightens up and brushes off his suit.
Listen, I can't afford a third strike with Madame Beals with this audition. She'll kick me to the curb, so I gotta go.
Hey, listen, can we like continue this at a later date, maybe something more formal?
Look, you buy me dinner, I'll tell you everything I know.
All right. It's a date. You like sushi?
Only when I can afford it.
Great. Okay. Son, Hurrios it is at 8. It's my treat. Okay. All right.
Hey, by the way, a sucker for a good sake.
She leaves the alley. He slowly follows her out, massaging his wrist.
I'm gonna need it, I'm afraid.
Cut to interior, Beals studio, continuous. Close on, a woman's hand filling out a sign-in paper. She writes her name, weight, email, phone number, and address. A loud voice from the main dance studio calls out. April, a petite blonde wearing form-fitting dance skins, steps onto the studio's dance floor. She pauses for a moment and waits for the music. The room suddenly fills with the loud drum and bass, and April tears up the dance floor. Her lightweight makes her agile, and her leaps and sweeps are impressive. She uses the full floor in a hyperactive performance. Her finishing move is a full split in the middle of the dance floor. However, she's a few inches raised from her desired position. As for a dancer, it's slightly embarrassing. April quickly jumps up and takes a bow, as to ease her previous error. Madame Beals clears her throat.
Next.
April bows her head and packs her bag, humiliated. As she passes Madame Beals, she mutters,
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Get better. Get a stretching apparatus or practice. That's the only way to improve, through pain and perseverance.
Yes, ma'am.
April exits the studio. Cut to exterior street, continuous. By now, Jennifer's walking at a brisk pace. As she rounds the corner of the block behind a building, she collides with April, who is fully distracted by her phone. The two girls bump hard, but with April's petite body, she falls back onto the sidewalk. Her phone is flung into the air, but before it crashes to the ground, Jennifer catches it. She examines the screen to see what April was distracted by. Close. Various stretching machines for sale at local retailers. April gets up and snatches her phone back.
Watch where you're going.
I wasn't the one on the phone. Besides, what do you need one of these for? If you practice with your natural weight, you'd accomplish the full splits inside of a week.
April looks over Jennifer.
Some of us aren't packing the kind of weight you're carrying.
Well, you know what they say. Muscle weighs more than fat.
She looks over April.
And skin and bone. Eat a protein bar or something.
April flashes Jennifer the finger, then storms away.
Eat a dick.
Jennifer smiles and shrugs off the insult.
Plenty of protein in those.
Jennifer resumes her journey to the dance studio. Cut to interior Beals studio. Moments later, Jennifer bursts through the doors 2 minutes before her scheduled audition. She quickly signs in and notices the information above hers. It's April's. Jennifer scoffs. A voice calls out from the main dance studio.
Next.
Jennifer rushes into the main dance studio. We follow her from behind as she removes a CD from her backpack, loads it, and leaps to the center of the studio. poised like a spring-coiled panther, waiting for the first note to play. Madame Beals looks on with heightened interest. The music begins, soft and slow at first. Jennifer sways and extends her limbs, almost like a warm-up. Then the song breaks into several fast-paced melodies. Jennifer's dancing adjusts to the various music, thus exploring her range and ability. The music becomes increasingly fast-paced as she dances frantically. Then the sudden stop of sound triggers her backflip and into a full split. Madame Beals is breathless. She takes a moment to compose, then stands and claps.
Brava! Brava!
Jennifer peels herself off the floor and removes a towel from her backpack.
Thank you.
Your energy is reminiscent of my own when I was younger. So raw, controlled, brava, my dear.
You're very kind.
Madame Beal uses both of her walking sticks to hobble to a bookcase and removes a binder. She places it on her desk.
I'd like you to learn this stance. The instructions are quite thorough, both written and visual. Do you own a DVD player?
Yes, I do.
You're one of 3 prime candidates. You have a week to learn this and show me what you can do.
I won't let you down.
I'm sure you won't.
Jennifer leaves. Cut to interior apartment later. April's sitting in the middle of her dining room floor, strapped into an archaic stretching machine. Her legs are spread apart and strapped into 2 metallic poles, attached to a hand-winding mechanism located at the center of the apparatus. As she winds the machine, her legs spread apart, inch by inch. She tests the limitations of her pain threshold, and it's low.
Fuck.
She winds a few more inches.
This must be what giving birth is like.
Cut to exterior, April's apartment, continuous. A black shrouded figure with the Cambodian goddess mask scales up to April's apartment balcony. The figure leaps onto the balcony and stealthily watches between April's curtains as she stretches. The figure slowly slides the balcony door open and slips in. Cut to interior, April's apartment, continuous. Cambodian music begins to play as the figure dances into the dining room. April is surprised, but is in no position to do anything.
What the fuck? Who are you?
The figure continues to dance.
I'm calling the cops.
April reaches for a phone, but the figure is faster and snatches it first.
Hey,
The figure tosses that out the balcony door.
what's your fucking problem?
April focuses on unstrapping herself from the device.
You're in big trouble, asshole.
The figure performs an axle turn pirouette and kicks April in the head. April falls limp, temporarily dazed, folded over the machine. The figure then stands above April, then slides down to her veil via full splits. The figure is now face to face and begins to wind the mechanism forward, thus separating April's legs even further. A bolt of pain shoots through April as she regains consciousness.
No!
The figure uses tremendous strength and winds the mechanism faster. April begins to scream as the figure continues to wind. Suddenly, a loud, sickening snap is heard. April stops screaming and falls backwards, eyes rolling into the back of her head. Wide of, the figure has wound the stretcher machine to its capacity, thus breaking April's hips in a horribly awkward position. April convulses from shock, then eventually slips away and dies. The figure raises from the full splits position and slowly backs out of the apartment onto the balcony. Cut to interior, Sanjiro's moments later, night. Mike is sitting in the sushi restaurant, checking his watch, waiting for Jennifer. He cracks into a warm sake and loosens up a little.
That's the stuff.
He smells the aroma and it relaxes him. Jennifer bursts in the front doors of the restaurant and scans for Mike. He raises his hand and waves.
Hey, over here.
She spots him and sits across from him. She places her cell phone on the table next to his.
Sorry, I'm late. I did so well at my audition, I completely lost track of time.
Congratulations. Awesome.
He pours her a small cup of sake. She sips it and smacks her lips.
This is the good stuff.
Only the best for my suspects.
She shoots him a look.
I'm just kidding.
So, why'd you decide to become a cop?
Well, actually, I'm a detective.
What's the difference?
Experience, dedication, success rate.
So you're a successful detective.
No cold cases on this guy.
Intriguing.
Also, I've been told I have a nose for crime, so I mean, there's that.
Like an obsession.
No, literally. I mean, my nose is so sensitive. I have these heightened senses. So,
Like a basset hound?
actually, elephants have the advantage in that ability. So
he closes his eyes and smells the air.
The smell of sweat, the cheap perfume. I suspect you came back from your audition. You didn't have time to shower, so you doused yourself with dollar store perfume. However, you do use laundry daily, but use the heavily scanted fabric softeners to conceal your body sweat.
Jennifer smiles.
Pretty good.
Jennifer looks around the room and points to a couple.
Okay, what about them?
Mike opens his eyes and looks towards where Jennifer is pointing. He closes his eyes and takes a deep breath of air.
They just had sex. I can smell the pheromones. I can smell his sweaty musk, but she's clean. He must have done most of the work, and he's taking her somewhere nice. I deduce he's a John, and she's a high-priced call girl. So.
Gross.
No, not really. I mean, he's supporting her lifestyle. I mean, taking her out for a nice meal. I mean, he's in it for the short term because he realizes that he's incompatible unless he's a millionaire. You know, she's way out of his league. So
no, I mean, it's gross that you can smell that.
He smirks.
It's an occupational hazard, I guess.
He pours both of them another cup of sake.
So what made you decide to become a dancer?
I'm not a dancer. I just want to be.
Then what do you do?
Oh, you're the detective. You tell me.
He looks her over, then closes his eyes and takes a deep breath.
You are a mystery.
He opens his eyes.
I work in the dairy warehouse. Load trucks. Make sure Middle America gets their fair dose of thiamine, riboflavin, and B12.
He backs away slightly.
I am lactose intolerant, just so you know.
Oh, then I don't recommend the cheesecake.
This is a sushi restaurant, so.
She holds up the menu and points. Extreme close-up of strawberry cheesecake on the menu.
Everyone loves cheesecake.
Duly noted.
Your due diligence is lacking.
He smiles.
It won't happen again. So, I mean, back to the dance studio. So, what do you know about Madame Beals, anyway?
Oh, she's a fucking genius. Danced with the best, and in her prime, no one came close to her passion and talent.
But she's a cripple now.
Yeah, as are most athletes. They push the boundaries of their bodies.
Jennifer removes her phone and searches for a clip.
She was a part of the French La 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 human dance steps movement. These dancers were extreme, literally throwing themselves at each other, defying the laws of gravity and standard physics.
Close on Jennifer's phone, we see a montage of the extreme dancing and how powerful it is.
After a while, it's difficult to maintain that physical endurance. Human body eventually breaks down and ages. Madame Beals sacrificed her body for the art, and I see no greater or more noble cause than her dedication to dancing.
Matt raises his hands.
I meant no disrespect. I mean, I'll admit I'm new to all this dance stuff. So, I mean art. I mean, I understand it's a discipline. I'm hard hours, rigorous training. I get that. So
Jennifer plants her arm on the table, poised for an arm wrestle.
Okay, I'll show you how hard.
Mike scoffs and looks around. People are starting to take notice.
Really?
Jennifer stands her ground.
Let's go, tough guy.
The call girl looks at Mike.
Can't back down now. You look pretty stupid.
Mike shakes his head.
I can't believe you're doing this.
He places his arm on the table and grasps Jennifer's arm.
Now you better go easy on me.
Jennifer sneers.
No such luck.
Jennifer turns to the call girl.
You count down.
On 3.
Jennifer locks eyes with Mike. They tighten their wrists.
3.
Jennifer snaps her wrist, then plows Mike's arm into the white linen tablecloth. He gasps in surprise. The call girl springs up from her chair and high-fives Jennifer.
A force to be reckoned with.
She sits back down as Mike massages his arm.
I think you made your point. Look, can we just enjoy like a quiet dinner here? I mean,
Of course, detective.
She pours the sake this time.
all right. What do you know about Madame Beals, son?
He's the main reason I'm auditioning for this dance.
Okay.
A genius. Spent the majority of his life under Madame Beals' wing and perfected the art. Now he comes back to town and performs a dance under his mother's direction. We're doing a version of Pandora's Box with the 5 gods of dancing as the main characters. He's the lead.
So you've met him.
No, he's on tour. I suspect he'll be in town by the end of the week for rehearsals. Is he a suspect?
Anyone associated with the school is right now.
A cell phone begins to ring. Everyone in the restaurant checks their phone. Jennifer glances at the phones on the table.
Oh, shit.
Okay, not one of ours.
He shifts slightly and removes another phone from his jacket.
All right, it's work. I mean, they only call like when the shit hits the fan around here, so.
He answers. Looks like you've got your work cut out for you.
Okay, how can I help you, Lieutenant?
Another dancer was just found dead in her apartment.
So this body count around here is really starting to add up then.
Forensics are just finishing up. I need one of ours down there.
I'm on my way.
He hangs up the phone.
I mean, sorry to cut this short. Another body was just found, so.
No rest for the wicked, I suppose.
Mike stands up and notices Jennifer's necklace. He reaches out to touch it.
It's quite pretty.
Oh, thank you. A gift.
It suits you.
Jennifer blushes.
Hey, listen, I left my credit card at the front, so please help yourself to anything, okay?
What about you?
I'll detour through the nearest drive-through. Again, it's an occupational hazard, so.
I'd like to do this again.
Me too.
He takes a last swig of sake before he leaves.
Duty calls.
Jennifer watches him leave. Her gaze returns as she catches the call girl's eye.
Pussied out.
No, he's a good guy, just on call. At least he paid for dinner.
She raises a sake cup.
Compy?
Cut to interior April's apartment later. Mike arrives at April's unit door. There is yellow police tape barricading the entrance. Mike steps through it holding a bag of takeout burgers. There's an ethnic middle-aged woman in a hazmat suit and a clipboard taking notes. This is Seema, one of the forensic team. She turns to notice Mike.
Evening, detective.
She points around the room.
Foot Patrol did a thorough sweep of the crime scene, but the lieutenant wanted you to take a final look before we transported the body over to the coroner.
There are little yellow flags posted where there may be a potential clue.
There's nothing concrete. The murderer came in from the balcony, no signs of forced entry, and the deceased was in a vulnerable position.
Mike opens his takeout bag and removes a burger. He unwraps it and notices Seema staring.
Oh, excuse my manners.
He offers her the burger.
Is that beef?
Finest grade A in town.
I'm Hindu. We worship the cows.
He withdraws the offer.
Besides, you may want to delay on eating before you view the deceased.
Mike rewraps the burger and places it back in the bag.
Well, you got a point there. So
They walk over to a large white cover. Seema pulls it from the dead body of April.
what the fuck?
Well, we've ruled out suicide. You know, it would take somebody fully methed out to do this to themselves.
Yeah.
God, the strength that it would be required to snap your own hips, it would be superhuman. Anyways, we ran some of her blood over to toxicology, came up clean, except for traces of Ozempic.
What's that?
It's a weight loss drug.
Wait a minute. You're joking. She's got to weigh 90 pounds.
Well, this is America, right? I mean, if you're not a supermodel or on the cover of Vogue, you're fat.
Mike kneels down in front of the machine and examines its mechanism.
You dust for prints?
Clean. The murderer wore latex.
Mike closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. He's channeling into his senses. Seema smiles. She mutters to herself.
This is my favorite part.
I smell lavender.
Seema checks her clipboard.
Yeah, she has a bar of lavender soap in the bathroom. It's half used.
There's a slight tinge of eucalyptus there.
Tube of muscle ointment in the medicine cabinet, and it's eucalyptus scented.
Something rose scented. Something rose.
Seema smirks.
It was her time of the month. There's a half-open box of rose-scented tampons in the closet.
All right. I was going to mention the blood, but I mean, there's nothing we can see here. So,
well, thank God.
Mike removes a pair of black latex gloves from his pocket and puts them on. He grasps the handles and attempts to move the mechanism. It takes him full effort. It moves an inch, accompanied with a sickening crunch. Seema cringes and looks away.
Oh. Rigor mortis has set in. We give the time of death about 6:30.
all right. Still, this is no easy task. I mean, the murderer was strong here.
He gets up and massages his arm.
I mean, unusually strong, I would say.
Cut to interior apartment. Jennifer sits on her bed, finishing putting on her workout clothes. There's a knock at the door. Jennifer answers and finds her friend Jane. She's decked out in the most stylish of workout attire.
Hey, hi, gal pal, ready to get sweaty and sexy?
Sweaty, yes. Sexy. We don't even have to try.
The friends share a laugh.
Too bad you got to work later.
Yeah, but for now, it's time to get buff.
Jennifer and Jane flex dramatically. Interior gym. Jennifer and Jane work out using weights and cardio equipment set to an 80s style workout montage. Exterior, dairy factory, later that day. Jennifer strides out of the doors. She notices Mike's car and walks towards it. He's typing something on his phone with the windows closed. She taps on the window to get his attention. He looks towards her as he rolls down the window.
Stuck much?
I'm here as a public servant with a sworn duty to protect my taxpayers.
Okay, how long have you been here?
About an hour.
Well, why didn't you come in to talk to me if it's regarding police business?
Listen, I'm a little lactose intolerant with my heightened senses. I mean, I smell every molecule. I break out as soon as I step through a door. So.
Sounds psychosomatic if you ask me.
I mean, while you're on the subject of psychos, there was another dancer that was murdered last night. So I'm here to warn you right now, you need to be careful.
It's sickening.
Do you need a lift?
No, thanks. I'm parked over there.
She points to a lot across the street.
I mean, I can give you a lift.
Jennifer appears at the passenger side seat where food wrappers and discarded Coca-Cola cans litter the area. There's also a stack of case files strewn on the floor.
Hard pass.
He sighs.
All right, I'm off to the dance studio and inform the madam of her declining roster.
He starts the car.
Good luck.
He shrugs and drives off. Cut to interior Beals studio. Later. It's in between classes, so there are no students around. Mike steps into the main hallway beside the reception desk and closes his eyes. He takes several deep breaths, stimulating his heightened senses. Madame Beals steps from the main dance studio and observes Mike's unusual ritual for a moment.
Can I help you, detective?
Mike snaps out of it.
I just smelled something unusual.
There was a gas leak here a few years back, but I can assure you it's been repaired.
She points to a sign above the studio door.
However, this is a scent-free establishment, no perfumes or colognes, and heaven forbid deodorants. Why should one conceal the scent of hard work? If you're sweating in this studio, you've earned my respect.
She walks into the main dance studio and sits behind her small desk.
Besides the spray-on deodorants they have these days are gag-inducing. I encountered one of my male students spraying himself outside the studio before and after class. We called him the Axe Murderer. Due to the fact he was killing us with toxic aerosol. It's unhealthy and lingers it's unhealthy and lingers worse than cheap car freshener.
Well, from what I can smell, I mean, you're free and clear, so.
Mike follows her. When he crosses the threshold, he notices that another mask is missing. He points to the missing spot.
Looks like you got a chronic theft problem here.
Other than sentimental value, the masks are worthless. Next time I go down to Mardi Gras, I'll collect dozens of them from the streets after the parades. If it means something to the thief, so be it.
Listen, I'm not sure if you heard yet, but another one of your students was murdered last night.
Madam shakes her head.
What's this world coming to? Who was the victim?
Mike takes out his notepad and flips to a current page.
Mr. April Valine.
She reminded me of a hummingbird. Light and agile, always fluttering.
Well, that would make a fine eulogy, but listen, I'm wondering if you could give me your son's telephone number.
Why heavens, what for?
I've just got a few routine questions I want to ask.
Well, he's out of town at the moment.
So I've heard, but I'm just doing my due diligence. I hope.
I'm concerned that the news of these murders will affect his performance. He's just ending tour.
I understand. I mean, I'll keep my questioning to general information. He doesn't need to know about the murders or anything like that.
Very well.
She jots down the phone number and hands it to Mike.
He's very sensitive. If he suspects that I'm in danger, he'll drop everything and come rushing to my rescue. It wouldn't be good for his career.
Well, sadly, you are in danger, as is everyone that is enrolled in this school right now.
Why would anyone want to murder an old has-been like me?
We've yet to establish a motive, but listen, it's better to be safe than sorry, okay?
Mike snaps his notepad closed.
All right, listen, you've got my number. If you remember anything unusual or you feel like your life might be in danger, whatever you do, don't hesitate to call me, okay?
She holds up her phone.
I have you on speed dial, detective.
Mike turns to leave.
Good to know. Thank you.
Cut to interior, car, day. Mike removes his cell phone and notepad and calls the number Madame Beals gave him. As the phone rings, the camera shifts into Mike's profile with the passenger side window acting as a split screen. Madame Beals' son appears into the frame. This is Tony. This is Troy.
Hello.
Hello, Troy. This is Detective Macey with the Arizona Public Department, Police Department. Your mother gave me this telephone number.
How may I help you, Detective? Is my mother okay?
Oh, no, she's fine, Troy. Hey, listen, I'm investigating a missing person associated with your mother's school.
That's unfortunate. I'll assist in any way that I can.
All right, maybe we can meet and talk.
Well, I'm out of town at the moment.
If you don't mind me asking, where?
In Chicago, but I get in town in like a few days.
Where are you staying, Troy?
Oh, the promoters have me staying at the Savoy. First class, no expenses spared.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah, it is indeed. If you were in town, I could send you a couple of comps for the show.
Hey, that's very kind. Hey, listen, thank you for your time. I'll touch base with you if anything develops, okay?
Okay, good luck, detective.
Mike hangs up. He then uses his phone and Googles the Savoy in Chicago. The camera shifts so Mike's profile is now on the right side of his face, and the driver's side window acts as a split screen. Mike dials. A hotel desk person answers.
Good afternoon. The Savoy, Chicago. How may I help you?
Hi there, this is Detective Macey from the Arizona Police Department. I am just inquiring about one of your guests.
I'm sorry. It's our policy not to divulge guest information over the phone. I need to see a badge in person.
Well, listen, I'm like 600 miles away.
Well,
That's a
if you
problem.
start driving now, you'd make it here before my shift ends.
Is that a fact?
Or you can relay your question to the Chicago Police Department, and they can send somebody.
Mike is getting frustrated.
Listen, can you just tell me, is Troy Beals staying there?
Troy Beals, the dancer?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't you say so? Everybody knows he's here. He's a big thing for this town at the moment.
So you've seen him then?
I wish. Between the paparazzi and his groupies, I can't even get a selfie in Edgewise.
Well, he's high profile then, I would assume.
He's the talk of the town.
Mike sighs.
Well, thanks for the information. I appreciate it.
Do you think you could get me a signed autograph?
I'm sorry. Listen, that's not my job description, but.
Mike hangs up and the split screen fades away. He's slightly frustrated as he flips through his notes and attempts to make a connection.
Nothing makes sense.
He reaches over and cracks open the case files. He flips through various photographs of the victims, then stops at Monica. He notices one photo where she's wearing the gold necklace. He holds it up close. Flash 2, interior, Sanjero's night. Close, of Jennifer smiles as Mike compliments her necklace. Flash 2, interior car day. Mike mentally connects the dots, tosses the file, and drives away. Cut 2, exterior apartment, moments later. Mike parks across the street from Jennifer's apartment. Once again, he removes his binoculars and spies through her second floor window. Mike's point of view, Jennifer is practicing the new routine Madame Beals gave her. It's intense, similar to the la 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 human steps. Jennifer leaps and twirls as she bounces off the walls and floors. Mike is mesmerized, uncertain how to approach this talented dancer. He finally duty calls and he mans up to his position of the authority. He takes a single file and walks to her apartment entrance. Close on, the buzzer for Jennifer's apartment. It reads, Jay Jahan. Mike presses it.
Hello?
Hey, it's Mike.
Mike who?
Detective Mike?
Sure you are. Prove it.
He takes out his badge and holds it up to the camera speaker.
Face, badge.
Yeah, the camera busted 6 months ago. You're gonna have to do better than that.
Are you serious?
Haven't you heard? There's some crazy fuck murdering dancers. No chance in hell I'm buzzing you up, psycho.
Mike steps back and walks under her balcony, which is open. He closes his eyes and breathes in deeply. He returns to the buzzer and presses it.
You're burning a vanilla candle to hide the fact that you're sweating profusely. You've just recently cracked a bottle of cheap Chardonnay and your feet smell.
Well, I knew it was you. Just fucking with you. Apartment 207, second floor.
The door buzzes open. Mike enters. Cut to interior apartment. Moments later, Mike enters the apartment and scans it.
This looks like a gym.
What were you expecting? Something girly?
Maybe.
Well, judging from the strewn garbage in your car, I bet your humble abode is a pigsty.
All right, you wouldn't be wrong about that.
He inspects pictures on the wall and various knickknacks.
Are you profiling my stuff?
And occupational hazard. Get much of a read-through.
Then what do you smell?
Mike walks to the center of the room, closes his eyes, and breathes deeply.
Sweat, milk, ranch salad dressing.
I use it on everything. Ketchup is overrated.
Yeah, you're what I would call vanilla.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to take that.
Mike sits on the couch and places the case folders on the coffee table.
In a roundabout way, it means that you're not a threat. You're actually safe. So
I'll accept that. Can I get you a drink?
I'll take tap water.
No, it was the vanilla one.
Hey, what can I say? I'd like to play it safe too.
She exits the living room and returns with 2 glasses of water. She sits across from him. He takes a sip and closes his eyes.
I didn't hear you use the tap. So you're using filtered water. Unfortunately, the charcoal system you use is expired.
He takes another sip.
Mm-hmm. I'd say for about a year and a half. Also, by the way, there's a soap residue in your glass, and you clean, but you don't thoroughly rinse.
Oh my God, are you like this with everyone?
Pretty much. I mean, I like to be honest with people, so.
Must strain your relationships.
I never had one last for more than a few months. I mean, I accept that responsibility, but it keeps me genuine with the people I have to work with. So,
Poor thing.
so now I'd like you to be honest with me.
What gives you the impression I haven't?
Mike slowly reaches over and opens Monica's file, then points to her necklace. Then Mike looks over to a lamp where the necklace is hanging on and points.
You lied to me.
Jennifer processes the connection and sighs.
This is embarrassing.
No, slightly more than that.
I found it in the women's washroom garbage in the dance studio. I know I probably should have turned it into Lost and Found, but I really liked it, and most of the dancers at the studio are spoiled trust fund babies. Never worked an honest day in their life.
Well, it's evidence. Did you know Monica?
Jennifer picks up the photo and examines it.
I met her once. She was a little rude. She took my name down for the auditions.
Well, she's still missing.
Jennifer stands up, retrieves the necklace, and hands it to Mike.
I mean, it's not much use now. I mean, it's got your fingerprints all over it.
I had no idea it was hers. Take it. I don't want it anymore.
Mike removes a black latex glove from his pocket and a small evidence bag. He takes the necklace from Jennifer, places it in the bag, and drops it into his pocket.
Well, we'll test for DNA.
He watches Jennifer as he takes another sip of his water. They sit in uncomfortable silence. A sudden ring from a cell phone breaks the tension. Jennifer reaches for a phone, not hers. Mike removes both phones and favors the ringing one. Close on, screen as the words Madam Beals flash. Mike answers.
Hello, Madam Beals. Ashley, I don't think your mic's on.
It's not. Thank you. I've just been attacked. I think a murderer is trying to kill me. He's still here. I'm locked in the basement.
But what? But where are you right now?
In the studio. Hurry.
The connection is disconnected. Mike looks to Jennifer.
Hey, the killer's at the studio. We need to go.
Shouldn't you call someone?
No, we're closer. Besides, the sirens might scare him off. We have the element of surprise on our side. Let's go.
They both bolt out of the apartment. Cut to interior Beals.
Pause real quick. It's
Moments later.
6:35. It's 6:35. Does anybody need a break?
Yes.
Need breaks. 6:35. Get a drink of water. Let's do 5 minutes. See you in a minute.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, let's all start coming back. Cameras on when you're back, please. Okay, we're definitely gonna need Steve, so we'll hold on for a sec. Good job, everybody. So far, so good. There's Steve. Okay. Oh, there's Katelyn. Awesome. Everybody ready? Everybody got their water?
Ready?
Okay, so just to catch everybody up, we're on page 61. Mike just got the call from Madam Beals that she's been attacked. Go ahead, Jeff.
Interior, Beals studio. Moments later, Mike bursts in the door with firearm raised. Jennifer's behind him. He sweeps the hallway and entrance.
Madam Beals.
Jennifer carefully follows behind at a distance.
Police are present. Everyone come out with your hands raised.
Mike continues to sweep as he enters the main dance studio, where Madam Beals is unresponsive on the floor, walking canes scattered with the back door open. We hear sobbing. Mike and Jennifer rush to Madam Beals to help her to her feet and offer her the walking canes.
Oh my God, what happened?
She slowly regains her composure.
It was hideous.
Mike and Jennifer guide Madam Beals to her desk. She slumps over and resumes weeping.
Can I get you a drink of water? Or...
No, but in the fridge it is what I need.
Mike pulls up a chair and consoles her, while Jennifer opens the fridge to see a carton of goat milk. She shrugs, removes it, while collecting 3 glasses and places them on the table. Madam Beals breaks from her sobbing to pour 3 glasses and quickly drains hers. Jennifer follows suit. However, Mike pushes the glass away. Madam Beals looks to Mike with confusion.
I don't like goat's milk. But lactose intolerant, practically lethal with my condition here. So
You poor thing.
yeah, don't concern yourself with me. What exactly happened?
Jennifer reaches over and drinks the milk.
Good girl. Strengthens the bones. But did I miss something? How do you incorporate calcium into your diet?
I eat a lot of kale, but listen, forget about me. What happened and how did you get out of the basement here?
It's terrifying. I was working on some administrative paperwork and I heard something at the front door.
Flash 2, interior Beals studio, night. Close on, a pane of glass breaking and hard reaching to unlock the door deadbolt.
The sound of shattering glass alerted me to the intrusion. I called out, but the criminal in question was silent.
Madam Beals stands from her desk and hobbles over to the hallway entrance. There she sees the masked figure enter.
I screamed and I tried to get away as fast as I could.
She about turns and moves as fast as she can towards the exit. However, the figure is fast and pounces on her. Madam Beals goes sprawling onto the floor as the figure grasps for her neck and begins to strangle her.
His hands clasped tightly around my neck and I began to black out. As I drifted away from human consciousness, I screamed.
Close on, the scream. Cut to, interior Beals studio continuous. Jennifer and Mike are spellbound by Madam Beals' story.
And then?
Madam Beals ponders for a moment.
Did I mention that I was dog sitting for a neighbor?
You may have missed that piece of information.
Well, yes, when I screamed, the dog started barking. It distracted the murderer to a point where I could struggle away, so I crawled a few feet and kicked in the bathroom door.
For what purpose?
That's where I kept the dog. So it doesn't run rampant around my studio. It's not like I can keep up.
Then what happened?
With the dog loose, it chased the killer around the building, so I crawled in the basement and called you.
Mike looks confused.
But where's the dog now?
Chased the bastard out the back door.
So it's missing.
No, it probably chased the killer away and then went home.
Yeah, well, what kind of dog are we talking about?
Blue heeler, very loyal to its master. Too much energy for my liking.
Well, I'm glad you're in one piece.
Can you describe the killer?
Tall, muscular, definitely a man. I could smell his hot breath as he was strangling me.
Could you identify him in a lineup?
Heavens no, he was wearing a black mask. Smelled like Old Spice, cheap cologne.
Huh.
Mike jots down the information in his notepad, then places it in his pocket.
I'm just gonna look around.
I suspect that's what's expected. This is a crime scene.
As Mike looks around, Jennifer comforts Madame Beals. Close of Mike inspecting the front door and broken glass. Close of Mike inspecting the bathroom and taking several deep breaths. Close of Mike steps out the back door and takes several deep breaths. He then returns to Jennifer and Madame Beals.
I suggest that you close the studio down to avoid any more casualties. Okay.
It's ludicrous. As they say in show business, the show must go on.
Hey, it'll be difficult to cast a show if all the dancers in town are dead.
Jennifer places her hand on Madame Beals' hand.
Just until we can get a handle on this, I'd be devastated if anything happened to you.
I appreciate your concern.
Maybe you could call your son to come home early? I think you need someone to take care of you for the time being.
He has 2 weeks of shows before he travels here.
Does he have an understudy?
Yes. In fact, the young man is very talented. I don't think the audience would mind.
It's settled in, okay? Call your son, close the studio until we can get some solid leads, and I'll put all my effort into solving this case.
Madame Beals begins to sob.
Thank you, Detective. I'll email the students and pause the auditions until you inform me otherwise.
That's our safest bet.
Madame wipes away her tears and then looks up to Mike.
I feel much safer now.
Cut to interior car moments later. Mike is in deep thought as he drives. He's trying to connect the dots of the recent encounter. Jennifer feels the tension.
What's on your mind?
I mean, nothing adds up. I mean, there's no motive, there's no evidence. I mean, everyone is still suspect.
Surely you've checked off a few suspects.
I mean, it's all gray. I mean, when it starts becoming black and white, then things are evident, good, bad, innocent, or guilty, dead or alive. You see where I'm going with this?
It's muddled.
I mean, it's like my head is like stuck in a cloud. I can't see the landscape, this perpetual fog, for instance. I mean, Madame Beals mentioned several times the dog, the Old Spice, a violent encounter. I mean, I couldn't smell anything in that studio. Couldn't.
She does have a scent-free policy.
I mean, it's understandable, but still the things that I mentioned always, they leave this lingering clue. It's like someone wiped everything clean.
Mike turns to Jennifer.
Or she's lying.
What would be the benefit of that?
Well, see, that's what I can't figure out.
He pulls up beside her apartment building.
You want me to walk you up?
Thanks, but I can handle myself.
Mike smirks.
I know. I mean, my arm is still sore after that. And luckily, my benefits include a massage therapist. Thank you.
He looks at her for a moment.
Listen, I don't want you to take this the wrong way.
He leans over to her while she closes her eyes and braces for a kiss. However, he reaches for the glove box and removes a small handgun from it. She opens her eyes, slightly disappointed, then jumps at the sight of the gun.
What the fuck?
No, listen, you got to keep it with you just in case. I mean, it's an unregistered gun, so if you have to use it, it's a burner. Just toss in the pond or something, okay?
I'm not comfortable with this.
Listen, desperate times call for desperate measures. Just keep it until I can crack the case, okay?
Jennifer looks him in the eyes, sensing that he's not going to back down. She stuffs it in her coat pocket.
Fine, but I am putting this in the freezer. I am not walking around with it.
It's no good in a freezer. It's small enough to fit in your purse. All it is it's just peace of mind. I hope you never have to use it.
She kisses him on the cheek, then places the gun in her purse.
I appreciate your concern.
She gets out of the car and leans in before she closes the door.
Keep me in the loop if anything happens.
You'll be the first.
She closes the door. Cut to interior of Mike's apartment later. Mike enters his apartment on the lights. Jennifer was correct. The place is a mess. A sound indication that Mike is focused on one thing and one thing only, his job. A 180-degree camera pan follows Mike as he takes off his jacket and gun holster, hangs it on his coat rack, then steps into the small open concept kitchen and grabs a gluten-free beer from the fridge. From a cupboard, he removes a package of nacho chips and strolls to the couch and sits down. He's staring at something we can't quite see as he sips his beer and smacks on the chips. His eyes dart to and fro.
Where's the connection?
Whatever he's staring at, it's taxing his mental abilities.
Follow the thread. Connect the dots. Make the connection.
Moments pass. Point of view, Mike. We can now see that he's staring at a wall covered in hundreds of post-it notes.
It's there. You just can't see it yet, but it's there.
He stands up and walks close to the wall. Close on, various post-it notes. Eucalyptus. Gold necklace. Missing masks. All the dancers' names. Absent son. Then dozens of notes flash through the screen, reflecting Mike's deduction process. Finally, it stops on one. Lavender. He picks off the post and examines it. Suddenly, he hits an epiphany. He begins to laugh to himself.
Of course. How could I have been so blind? Damn it.
He fishes his phone out of his pocket and dials. It rings several times, then finally connects to voicemail.
Hi, I don't give this number to a lot of people, and the ones I do, I deem important. So I'll get back to you as fast as I can because I know you wouldn't be calling me if it wasn't important. Beep.
Mike looks at his phone for a moment, processing the unusual message.
Hey, my suspicious friend, it seems that I've cracked the case. Hey, I'd like to meet for that sushi we were talking about, the sushi restaurant, and mansplain it to you over some premium sake. How about that?
From behind Mike, a figure slowly drifts from the shadows of his curtains and sneaks up behind him.
And bring the gun. You won't need it for where we're going, all right?
He smiles and hangs up the phone.
Okay.
He sits back and sips his beer, chuckling to himself, giddy as he just solved the case. The figure then lunges at Mike and plunges a large hypochromic needle into Mike's neck, piercing the main artery. Close up on the needle full of white liquid flowing into his neck. Mike grabs his neck and the syringe and leaps forward.
What the fuck?
He holds up the syringe, which has traces of the white liquid. He then holds it to his nose and smells it.
It's 33% cream?
He looks behind him and sees the black shrouded figure for the first time.
You injected me with a whole fucking cream?
The figure begins to dance around the room. Mike, quite bewildered and still in semi-shock, watches the unusual performance. Then the consequences of injecting any foreign substance into an artery begins to take effect. Doubly so due to Mike's lactose condition. He doubles over with crippling cramps, then vomiting. Soon he begins to convulse as the figure dances around him. Mike gathers what's left of his instinct and crawls towards his hanging gun and holster. The figure dances around his effort, teasing and mocking him. Mike uses everything he has to reach for the gun, unholsters it, and cocks the hammer. Sadly, his condition has become critical. He's shaking, convulsing. The figure assists Mike at pointing the gun to his own face. The excruciating pain of Mike's body reaction to the injection gives him the option for mercy as he pulls the trigger to alleviate his suffering. The gunfire noise transitions to, cut to, interior apartment, morning. Close of, hard landing on the wooden floors. Jennifer's practicing her new routine, leaping and flipping around herself around the room. The ring of her cell phone pauses her practice. She answers the phone.
Hello?
Hello, my dear. I was just wondering if you could drop by the dance studio to meet someone very special.
Why, yes, I'd be delighted.
Come by at noon. We'll have tea.
I look forward to it. I'll see you then.
Splendid, my dear. I'll bake some confectionaries.
She hangs up, Jennifer gets back into the groove with her routine. Cut to interior Beals studio later. Jennifer enters the building, which seems to be empty.
Hello?
Madam Beals' voice rings out.
In the main studio, my dear.
Jennifer casually walks into the main dance studio to reveal Madam Beals next to her son. Troy beams with excitement when he sees Jennifer. He approaches her with an extended hand.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. I've heard nothing but good things about you.
I'm flattered. I'm a huge fan of both your and your mother's work.
They shake hands.
She speaks very highly of you.
Wow, this just keeps getting better.
I know this meeting is a little impromptu, but would you mind showing Troy one of your routines?
I'd be delighted if you can forgive the ill preparedness. I'm not even wearing the proper attire.
Let's just consider this a rehearsal. No expectations, just a preview of your abilities.
Jennifer pulls out a CD from her purse.
In that case, let's dance.
She loads the CD player and makes her way to the center of the studio. The music starts and she puts on an astonishing performance, jumping, hopping, and spinning. She also incorporates moves from the La 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 human steps, flipping herself across the room, displaying her agility and grace. The music finally stops and she's on one knee, in her finishing move, breathing heavy with eyes to the floor. She awaits a response, clapping or shout of approval. Nothing. She slowly raises her eyes, expecting dismissal. However, both Madam Beals and Troy are silently weeping. Troy composes himself first and claps lightly.
Bravo, my dear.
Madam Beals turns to Troy.
We found our lead.
Indeed.
Troy walks over to Jennifer and helps her to her feet.
You are magnificent.
Yeah, it was just a rehearsal. I can do better.
Troy walks her over to the table and sits across from her. Madam Beals shuffles next to them and sits.
If you do any better, you'll upstage me.
Why, be a dear and get some tea? It's been steeping for quite a while now.
Yes, mother.
Troy brings the tea tray to the table and pours a cup for everyone.
Troy came into town early. Mike called him about the horrible things happening here lately.
He then brings back a plate of fresh packed cookies and sits down.
The detective was very suspicious, but didn't seem to have a lead on the case.
Yeah, he's been pretty frustrated. Kept asking me about you and Troy.
Jennifer takes a sip of her tea.
What did you tell him?
The truth? You're both spectacular, and it's an honor to be in your presence.
Quite flattering.
His mother also indulged in the tea and cookies.
I'm still thawing from the shock, so I got the role.
The lead, my dear. You'll be dancing with Troy.
That is quite the honor.
From what I've seen, you deserve it.
Jennifer begins to tear up, wiping her eyes.
Oh, sorry. I am just a bundle of emotions right now. I can't control myself.
Completely understandable, my dear. Why don't you go home and process this afternoon?
Maybe you can come over later for dinner and we can discuss the finer points of the piece.
I would love that. Thank you.
She gets up and collects her stuff.
7 o'clock for dinner?
I'm looking forward to it.
Embarrassed, she leaves. Madam Beals and Troy wait for a moment until they hear the front door close. Troy picks up her empty teacup and looks at its tea leaf strewn at the bottom. Once again, the leaves are in the pattern of a skull.
You're right. She's perfect.
He shows the leaves to his mother. Close up, the leaves in the bottom of the cup, once again in the formation of a skull.
So is the timing.
Troy smiles and kisses her on the lips.
Thank you, Mother.
She smiles back.
That's my boy.
Cut to interior apartment later. Close of Jennifer jumping into her bed and screaming into her pillow. She immediately gets up and dances for joy around her apartment. She uses every stick of furniture as both a dance partner and an obstacle to dance on. Exhausted, both physically and emotionally, she collapses on the couch next to her phone. She realizes that she hasn't checked in a while. Her only message is Mike's. She plays the message.
Well, my suspicious friend, it seems that I've cracked the case. I'd like to meet at the sushi restaurant and mansplain it to you over some premium sake. Oh, and bring the gun. You won't need it for where we're going. Beep.
Ah, shit. Bad timing, detective.
She dials the phone.
Hi, this is Detective Macey. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. Beep.
Hey, Mike, I'm busy tonight. Maybe another time. I got the lead in the dance, so I'm going over to the studio to cement the position. I really need this now, so I know you'll understand.
She hangs up and looks at the phone.
Shit, don't be mad.
Cut to interior Beals studio, night. Madam Beals, Jennifer, and Troy are just finishing their dinners. There's a table set up in the studio where they dine. The trio sit around it, conversing.
This was spectacular. Thank you.
Mom taught me everything I know.
He is an apt pupil.
Oh, you dance, cook. Where's the lucky lady in your life?
You're sitting next to her. Besides, I'm married to my work. Price you pay for success and fame.
Madam Beals smiles.
That's a small sacrifice if you ask me.
That's what we like to hear.
She turns to Troy.
Tea and dessert is ready in the other room. Could you retrieve it for us, darling?
Of course, Mother.
He leaves the room and returns with a large tray of desserts.
I'm not sure I could eat another morsel.
Well, tonight is a special occasion. This might be the last time you can stray from a dancer's strict diet.
Greens and protein.
At least have some tea. Good for digestion.
She pours Jennifer a cup.
Ah, I love your tea. It is steeped perfectly.
Jennifer indulges, and Troy and his mother watch and smile.
I'm afraid I have a bit of bad news.
I didn't get the part.
They both laugh.
Heavens, no. You're definitely the chosen one.
Without a doubt.
Just before you arrived, there was a news report stating that Detective Mike Macey had taken his own life.
No. Really? I just left him a message earlier today.
Pertaining to what?
He said he'd figured out who the murderer was.
Is that a fact?
Yes, he wanted to meet with me tonight, but I told him I had dinner with you too.
She ponders for a moment as she finishes her tea.
Shit, I hope he didn't kill himself because of me.
Don't be dramatic. His choice was his own.
The stress of the police work can cause a mental break, is even the most robust of personalities.
Jennifer chuckles as she begins to sway back and forth.
I guess we'll never know.
Know what, my dear?
Who killed all those dancers?
The late detective mentioned that you were a prime suspect.
Me? Why would I murder a bunch of stupid dancers?
Her speech is beginning to slur.
As you are what you eat.
Jennifer cracks up and points at Troy.
You remind me of that guy.
What guy are you referring to?
The guy from the movie talks a lot of shit.
Jennifer then proceeds to pass out, face first into the dessert tray. Troy and his mother look at each other.
Well, that was an experience.
You go retrieve the others while I prepare her.
Will do, Mother.
Troy leaves the room as Madame Beals pets Jennifer's hair. Fade out. Interior coroner's office, later. Seema is elbow deep in paperwork. It's been a busy week. A slight tap on her office door alerts her. She looks at her watch, then stands up and opens the door. It's Troy, smiling.
How did you get in here?
Oh, security let me in.
No, I doubt that.
Well, Detective Macey sent me to identify some of the unfortunate dance students.
Huh. I'm just going to give Detective Macey a call, if you don't mind.
She grabs her phone and speed dials the number.
By all means.
Seema gets his answering service.
Hey, Mike. Yeah, I have a gentleman here claiming that you sent him down to identify bodies. Give me a call back.
She hangs up the phone.
Truth be told, my mother owns the studio where the dancers were in rehearsals. She requested I come down here and pay last respects to all of them. It's like a respect thing between dancers.
Where's your mother?
She's riddled with arthritis, difficult for her to get around.
Yeah. You know, my mother's the same way. Sad state of affairs.
Indeed. Listen, I don't mean to be a burden, but
Troy pulls out several small wicker dolls in small costumes.
we have a tradition in our family where we place an offering on the deceased. My mother handcrafted these dolls to represent and honor the deceased.
We have a similar tradition in my culture.
I promise it won't take more than 5 minutes.
Okay, but you can't tell a soul.
She removes a set of keys from her desk.
Trust me, all souls are in my control.
Seema cocks her head.
Say what?
Cut to interior Beals' studio later. Jennifer's point of view. The blurry vision sharpens to see Troy and Madame Beals staring over her.
There she is. Welcome back to the world of mortals. Our ritual will not take long. Then you will become one of us.
What the fuck?
She attempts to get up, but she is bound by several ropes. Wide of the studio, the space is transformed into a ritualistic area. A large red pentagram is painted on the studio floor. The points contain the 5 masks and what seem to be human hearts. There are candles illuminating all of the satanic markings on the floor. Jennifer seems to be in the center of it all, bound to a table, ready to be sacrificed. Something hits her nose.
Oh my God, what is that smell?
Troy leans down and picks up a heart.
This one in particular is our good friend, Detective Mike. Strong and pure of heart.
Jennifer turns her head away.
A necessary element for our transformation.
He places the heart back in its specific position. Madame Beals uses her cane to shuffle to a nearby chair and sit. Jennifer stares at Troy.
It was you.
Sadly, no. I merely extracted what was needed. Post-mortem.
And who?
Sadly, you'll never know. You will leave this existence as ignorant as you came into it.
Troy removes a ceremonial dagger from his belt.
Your heart will complete the ritual in honor of the 5 deities of dance. Mother and I will be rejuvenated.
Why kill me? I thought I was the chosen one.
But you are, my darling. All of the other dancers had one fatal flaw, but you, on the other hand, were perfect.
These are the hearts of the other dancers.
My son can be quite persuasive. Other than Monica, the morgue was a one-stop shop.
Flash 2, interior coroner's office, night. Troy steps behind Seema with a scarf and quickly strangles her to death. Point of view of a chest cavity as Troy extracts a heart. Cut to interior Beals' studio, continuous.
Monica generously supplied our ritual with 1.5 gallons of her blood. The floor is painted with her.
Jennifer looks down to see the red markings with a new perspective.
Gross.
It's your perfection that will complete our ritual. The souls of the dancers are within the eyes of the masks. Their hearts will beat during the spell. Then we will extract your beating heart and devour it.
This is how we retain our strength over the ages. Be thankful that you will be a part of the greatest dancers in the world, in body and soul.
Troy looms over her with the knife.
Now, I'm slowly going to press the blade into your chest and remove your heart.
He slowly lowers the blade with both hands as the tip begins to penetrate her skin.
Slow death will fill your blood with cortisol and adrenaline. These are necessary for the heart to keep pumping.
Jennifer feels the pain. However, the surge of said chemicals strengthen her. She snaps one of her binds and grabs Troy's hand, holding the knife. She slowly manages to withdraw the knife and hold Troy, who now is forcing his full weight on Jennifer. However, Jennifer is a force to be reckoned with and snaps Troy's wrist, thus reversing the blade. Jennifer releases her grip as Troy falls on the knife. Close on, knife protruding through Troy's back. Rack focus to Madame Beals' face as it fills with horror. Jennifer pushes Troy's lifeless body off of her and snaps the remaining bindings. She then stands up and places her hand over her bleeding wound.
Lady, I am going to make sure you rot in jail.
Jennifer notices a purse hanging on the wall previously from dinner.
What have you done? You've ruined everything!
Madame Beals tosses aside her canes.
Save the trauma for the police. You're going down, psycho.
Madame Beals stands up for the first time without assistance.
I will complete the ritual.
Jennifer walks towards her hanging purse.
You need to take a seat before you hurt yourself.
Madame Beals makes an impressive leap in front of the hanging purse. Jennifer is a little taken aback. Madame Beals smiles.
You fool. Who do you think did all the killing?
Jennifer reaches for her purse, but Madame Beals grabs her arm inches away from the purse. For an older lady, she's incredibly strong.
Trained for this for over 50 years. Muscle doesn't forget.
Madame Beals flings Jennifer into the wall, stunning her, then tosses her around the room like a rag doll. Jennifer can't manage to get the upper hand. Madame Beals dances around her, avoiding any contact while delivering crippling blow after another. By now, Jennifer is winded and wounded as Madame Beals circles around her like a wild animal taunting its prey.
I've spent years planning this. Now I'll have to start again. But there will be pleasure in both killing you and blaming the murders on you as well.
Madame Beals tauntingly kicks Jennifer in the face.
You'll be famous, but not in the way you think.
Jennifer composes herself enough to leap towards her purse again. Unfortunately, Madame Beals is quicker. She grabs Jennifer's arm again and bats her away. She then reaches into the purse and removes Jennifer's phone. She holds it up to the battered dancer.
No one can save you now.
She crushes the phone with one hand and tosses it in front of Jennifer. She picks it up and sobs.
No!
Madame Beals struts around the room.
Your generation is addicted to technology. You've lost your way in this world, and I've lost touch with the old ways.
You've lost your mind.
Jennifer throws the phone at Madame Beals. It grazes off her head and smashes against the wall. This gives Jennifer a spare moment to lunge towards her purse again. She manages to grab it and rip it from its hook before crashing to the ground. Madame Beals recovers quickly and pounces on Jennifer. Only this time, Jennifer removes the revolver that Mike entrusted to her. Madame Beals leaps back into a crouched position.
You're going to have to kill me to get out of here alive.
Jennifer slowly stands up and holds the gun pointed at her aggressor.
There's been enough killing in the studio.
Jennifer lowers the gun and shoots Madame Beals in both knees. Madame Beals falls to the floor.
You'll never dance or kill anyone again.
Jennifer grabs her purse and walks out of the studio. But behind her screams Madame Beals.
No! Kill me! Have mercy!
You're rotting in prison, you crazy bitch.
Jennifer walks out of the studio. Cut to exterior street, moments later. Jennifer walks a few blocks in search of a payphone. Luckily, there is one still in existence. A street person is talking to his drug dealer. Jennifer waves the gun to get his attention.
Hey, can you make it snappy?
The street person takes one look at Jennifer in her battered and bloodied state, waving the gun, and immediately abandons his conversation. He sprints away as Jennifer hangs up the phone, then unhooks the receiver and dials 911. The operator answers. Jennifer's delirious from the blood loss and trauma.
Hello, I would like to report a bunch of murders. It's some old hag that's bleeding out from her knees at the Beals dance studio.
Jennifer giggles due to the surreal nature of current events. She then passes out, holding the gun in one hand and the gun in the other. Fade to black. The end. Woo!
Yay. Good job, Jeff.
Good job, Jeff.
Oh, woo!
Yay. Congratulations, everyone. Fantastic. All right. So we still luckily this time finished with plenty of time for a discussion. So we already know that this is a script in development, and I gave everybody a bunch of questions to kind of research. First one being who the director is, who the writer is, who the producers are, etc. What clues did that give you guys about the status of this film? I know that Scott asked me some questions about that during our one-on-one. Go ahead. We can have a discussion.
I Googled it and I saw there was like a Durant Com posting for casting some of the roles. So I gathered from that it was in pre-production. But yeah, I was curious. I figured it was in development from just the couple things that I saw on Google search.
Yeah. Who else did some research on the director? Go ahead, Rigo.
I did more research on like Matt Pruitt, and then I found and I wrote it upstairs, but like read some like a studio that he runs out of Vancouver. But I didn't get as much, like I wasn't able to pinpoint like the director and all of that stuff, but there was like Matt Pruitt. He's done some other like horror films in the past, the writer.
Good. So that kind of gives us a clue of who we're auditioning for, right? What the status of the film is, what kind of film this is, indie low budget horror film kind of thing. That it's just nice to know, right? Different than if we see somebody that's got a bunch of studio horror films. It's not Blumhouse, right? We're going to come at it from a different angle. Would you agree? Yeah. What this probably more for Monique, because you're the only one that was here for the last one. How did you feel this one read compared to last week's Nightmare on Elm Street?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it read very easily. I noticed there wasn't a lot of the camera angles and things like that Nightmare on Elm Street had. But I don't know if that's because was it Wes Craven's, he was the writer, director, and so he added all that in the script.
Yep. That's definitely something we talked about last time, was noticing that he was very clearly a writer director because he wrote in all of his camera, like all of his direction into the script.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was written beautifully. I followed along like really, like it went smooth for me.
And as for all of your characters, how did you guys feel it went developing your roles? I know we only had a week with the script. So tell me about that experience. What did you guys learn? What did you guys learn about your roles? Get any feedback to Matt?
I think for me, I'll jump in first. After our 30 minutes you and I had together a week or two ago, as I read it, I pictured myself being on camera during this movie, like all of a sudden the camera and the lights would flash on me. And so I really tried to help guide the either somberness or calmness or the intensity of that the lines were going, so I could help guide the actors to hit a certain level. That's kind of what I worked on.
Did you find any holes or anything that stood out to you that you struggled with?
Most of them are spellings.
Typos, yeah. More typos than I thought.
Okay. What about you others, especially my my lead actors and those that had bigger scenes?
Yeah, I think for me it was a lot of like finding the journey of I want this more than anything. Dancing is everything to me. To this, I'm not. This is the extremes people are going to. I am not. That's not what I want to become. And now I just have to survive it. And kind of figuring out where she is at the beginning versus where she is at the end, and when exactly the transition kind of happens.
Do you think she's a likable character?
I
Do you
think
think audience will, yeah?
Yeah.
Who did you guys think did it the first time you read it?
I thought it was Troy.
You
I
thought
thought
it
it
was
was
Troy the whole
too
time?
this time, yeah.
I thought it was Troy.
Yeah, I did
was-
too.
I did too.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It kind of after they kept talking about the magnificent dance moves, I caught on that it was Madame Bill. I'm like, yeah, probably not really crippled. I mean, I aspire to be a writer in some way, so I look at that, the writing, and really try to get to the conclusion, see if I can figure out the end before we get there. And yeah.
I love the writing aspect of it and how the character of Madame Beals, the characterization of her and the setup in the script early, you didn't even think that way. You didn't think it was her at all.
Yeah.
Just the way, even
Right.
that actress alone in that position, talk about being in the moment. Madame Beals being the age she is, and just I could totally see that. I could see this thing come to life from a production standpoint.
Okay, what about my my dancers that got murdered? How were your scenes? How did your characters come together and scenes read for you? Did you get a little story arc? Were you able to dive deep into them?
For me as April, unfortunately, no, I was not able to dive deep. I like to take dancing classes, but I don't really have a dancing bone in my body. So I felt like she was very much so professional, but I also liked how she dove right into getting what she needed to advance herself, because I am that way in that regard. When I want to advance my talent, I'll go forth and I'll do what I need to do. So I was relating in that way, and then I knew she was very ambitious and really wanted to be the best dancer that she possibly could be.
Something that caught my eye immediately, and I thought this was really interesting actually, is I did the film Condition of Return that had Dean Cain and Anna Lynn McCord in it. And if you have not seen that film, I played the role of her dad in that film. And it's scary when you see that film and what the capability was, and then you read this script and it's like, there's a crossroads there. That where the pentagram and the blood on the floor. There's a scene in that film where Anna Lynn is with candles and everything. And what's really funny about this is the fact that not only does my character die in this script, but I also was killed off in Condition of Return. So I'm starting to get a complex here.
I really appreciated, well, this sounds bad, but I really appreciated that Mike, that Steve got killed. Because when I read that, I was like, oh,
yeah,
holy moly, he died. Like, I was not expecting that to happen. So it was a really cool plot twist for me. Just to read that happened. I was like, oh, okay.
Thanks, Rigo.
And it was also, I'll just give a round of applause to everyone, because it was so cool. Like you read it in your head, you read it out loud, but then watching everyone personify everyone and really get into the slice was like, I was laughing at times. I was like, it was really cool. So
yeah, good segue, Rigo. I'd love to talk to my newer actors that are on here. And what did you guys learn from maybe some of the more advanced actors during this process?
For me, it's that I learned it's how imperative it is to take your beats and your breaks. Like, some lines you have to just let them sit And I noticed that with the more advanced actors, some of the main characters, I loved your work as Jennifer. Allison, also loved your work as the detective as well, Steve. Yeah, so I was paying attention to that and just noticing. I do think I read better sitting down too. And I was like, maybe I should just start doing my auditions in a chair.
Please forgive my cat for crying in the background. But yeah, to go off of what Morgan said, yeah, just watching, 'cause obviously this is my like first time doing like a table read. But watching like just everyone's interaction to like Jeff reading along and seeing how like the like people were staying like in character as he was reading. I think I was like a little nervous because like I had practiced reading it a little bit, but like I noticed like during it on Zoom, like I did kind of like rush through some lines quickly. And so I think, yeah, like what Morgan said is like seeing the intention of like where certain people like chose to take like a beat. That like I paid a lot of attention to that. And I was like, okay, well, like I'd like to continue this. I was like, so for like next time, like take like this into consideration or like that. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I just see a cat's behind.
Your cat is like, you will not leave me off this Zoom call, sir.
She's a
By the
cute
way,
baby.
this is being recorded, so we can
Yes,
watch it
it
back in
is.
slow motion.
I'm so sorry. The real star of the show.
Awesome. Okay.
Well,
So
I'll
also-
piggyback off of
Sure.
what you were saying, and I don't forget your name, but I loved the different dancers. Like you each really brought a different element to it, like a different attitude. And Brittany, you were really funny. Like you really made me laugh. So
that's my
kudos.
favorite scene in the movie.
I agree.
The Beth Karen scene, my favorite one.
Yeah.
I really wanted
Well-
to chime in here too. So, were you finished, Rigo? Too.
No, go for it.
Because sometimes when you read, like, there's some, especially with horror, it's so easy to get super kitschy with it. But I felt like a lot of these characters were grounded in so much truth. And like that was really cool. Like how you were talking about the character of Madame Beals, like, and you too, Rigo, like just seeing that arc was so fun to watch. And like the deaths are really graphic and but that's what we love about horror. And I feel like the characters, because we do all die, that like it's good to like have that fun and then to see the hero's journey of Jennifer was just like it was written so that was so well, like it gets very heightened at that point, and that like the last like 6-7 pages are just like, oh my gosh, like I love it. So it was fun.
I also have to just say, because sorry, Scream is like my second favorite movie. So Morgan, you had one of the best, whoever played Monica, you had the best death scene with the fans, because I'm obsessed with Tatum's death scene in Scream. It's like one of my favorite scenes of all time. So garage door opener, fans.
That is the best one.
I was gonna say, that's funny that you mention it because one of the conversation I had with Ashley like during like our session is like she was like, oh, like I thought like during your audition tape like you had like moments of sass, so like I thought like you'd have, like this like really like bitchy character well, and the scene I also love Scream. And so I was trying to like, I was like, okay, I die like first. So I was like, okay, like think of like some like iconic death scenes. And I thought of Rose McGowan as Tatum in Scream. So it's just like, oh, I love the garage door opener, and I love how she's like kind of sarcastic and like bitchy with Ghostface. So I definitely tried to bring that into it.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
I was also
did it give you
like
sorry,
in real.
Morgan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing research in real time and I found Durant Community or Communications. I'm not sure, but I see that there's some open roles.
Well, Matt has done some casting for this already. And that's how I came across the script, and I asked for permission to cast a table read for this. So Durant Casting is like a local Phoenix
Okay.
casting thing.
Okay.
Matt, did it give you any ideas of cross casting when I put Scott as Monica?
It was interesting because I always think of like the opening kill of a movie, usually the girl.
Well, I picked Scott for that one just because April was supposed to be 90 pounds, and I was like, that won't work. And then there's the whole Caren has the whole yeast infection thing. So that was like, that won't work. So Monica is who won, but I liked the idea of having, I mean, got Troy as a male dancer and in there, but then, you know, having a male get killed is even harder, I guess, you know, to hang that person up from a
fan, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was fun. His audition lent towards
cool.
it. And it was fun, but I just had some ideas when we were casting that.
And I wanted to give it like a style of like the Italian giallo movies from the 70s.
Say that again?
Like the giallo movies from the 70s, it's Italian horror, like a murder, mystery, suspense.
Yeah.
That kind of feel it had to it.
Is that what you guys got from it?
Yeah.
Cast? Yeah. One thing that I'd like to see more of is, and maybe this is with casting, is like making sure that everybody is a suspect and nobody's a suspect. I think especially watching all of the auditions, you guys only got leads got 3 scenes to audition with, but you don't know that you did it or not.
Yeah.
And so there has to be this taste of the audience going, oh, maybe she did it. And then you go, oh, no, she couldn't have done it. And then, oh, maybe she did it. Right. Like there's got to be this like living dichotomy in each of those lead characters.
Red herrings, right?
Yeah. So the audience is unsure. Unsure of that. So I liked that.
I think a part of me, like up until when I first was reading it, like I thought it was going to be Jennifer.
Like that's what the writer wanted to think. The writer told me he had her confronting everybody at one point, so there was possibly she could have done it to them.
Yeah, to me, she was like the only one where I was like, okay, that's gonna happen. But then I liked that it wasn't her though, because it made it like, oh, okay.
What I got from that was like everybody that dissed her got killed, and I was like, maybe somebody is. Not that she did it, but like it was a very clear pattern. It was a predictable pattern. So by the time April dissed her, I was like, oh, she's gonna get killed, right? Like it was a little like I figured that pattern out, but not that I didn't think it was Jennifer when I read it.
I did have a kind of a clarifying question, because when I have right before, when Seema lets me into the morgue, I say something about souls, like I'm in charge of all souls. And then right before Jennifer before my interaction with her, I say like the blood gives us soul and body energy. So I couldn't tell if that was, I mean, like my common sense, logic, and reason says that that's just, you know, me being raised by a delusional person that wants to maintain, you know, our notoriety and our talent. But there was like that place where it's like, well, is this kind of getting into that realm of like more fiction? Does that make sense?
Kind of like more like fantasy kind of.
Yeah, more fantasy of like the blood will, or if it's just we're just two delusional people, just from those 2 lines. And I should reference them more succinctly, because I'm not doing a good job of saying what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the point is to go kind of balls to the walls crazy at the end, and just kind of go all full out there, from mostly grounded in the beginning, and then all of a sudden talk about souls and like Man and Beals leading through I kind of think of like the Evil Dead movies. When the zombies
a little bit. It's a little bit more like supernatural almost at the very end.
Yes. It's
I
essentially
think I
that.
think Troy definitely evolves his character right towards the end. That's his arc.
Yeah,
His
for
arc
sure.
is right at the end. And that right there, that translation of his personality was starting to come out, which was he and his mother like this.
And the
That
kiss on
that
the
was
lip.
pretty scary. Well crafted and very well written, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I think Rigo's question might be for Mark to revisit that the imaginary world that we live in, that Troy and Madame Beals do live in, and make sure that those rules are really defined and clear in that writing. Yes, they're mad, they're cuckoo bird crazy, but in our world, it's crystal clear. Like the rules are very
Right. Well, so the line is trust me, all souls are in my control. So that line, like all souls are in my control. Yeah, because I kill them, but then later on I also say, I have to find it again, but I say in body and soul. So it just, to me, it made me question, like, am I like a satanic person? Is there any truth to this?
what are your rules? Your rules weren't clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would have Mark revisit that. And then two things that as a former professional dancer that drive me nuts is the point shoe thing. Like any dancer knows what point is. By the time they're 10 years old, they aspire to be on point. So that mistake that I think Caren that says it.
I was thinking, because I'm like, I'm Googling point shoes, but point shoes is pretty self-explanatory.
Well, it's for a dancer.
If I'm, yeah.
By 10, that's what you, especially aspiring like at this level, they're gonna know what shoes are.
Because I was like, maybe she's just
rewrite
that much of an airhead, or is it more just
I think it
like
just
play up that like point shit like I don't know.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be something different that she doesn't know that's a little bit more. It's not maybe so obscure that no dancer knows about it, but I wouldn't say like point is very, very easily.
Yeah, or maybe like make a pun of it. Because yeah, anyone with a dance background knows, like, from the time anytime that what point is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my opinion changed about the whole Bob Fosse line because I teach dance now to teenagers that don't know who Bob Fosse is, and that really pisses me off. So that one could stay. but the point shoe ones I think needs to be revisited.
Okay, I'll make a note to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one I was thinking about was the way that April's routine ended in a split, but she doesn't have her splits. No dancer would ever have a skill in their routine where they don't have it like 110%. So I wonder if there might be another way to kind of incorporate that or hint at that. But
that's my because that's how she dies is with that
That's true,
apparatus, right?
yeah.
So how do we incorporate the fact that her flexibility isn't there without that? Because I feel like
like that is so important, and that is
she would have her splits, but at this level, like it's a hyperextension really at this level. So I would say maybe she has her splits. It's not that she's landed in her splits with a few inches to spare. It's another skill that we could talk to you about, Matt, that we could try to figure out that she does that isn't hyperextended and what isn't excellent enough. And Madame Beals, it gets mad at, because a split to me, most dancers by the time they're 10, they're going to have their splits if they're aspiring at this level. They're going to
maybe like an overextended tilt.
Yeah, we can throw some ideas out there, Matt, for Mark to kind of do it's an easy rewrite.
Yeah, it could also be like an injury, an old injury that she has that she's trying to like overcompensate for and hide, but then it becomes apparent, something like that.
Yeah, so that could work too.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Sure. Those are just from dancer perspectives.
Yeah, I'm not a dancer, neither is Mark.
Yeah.
I just like to watch them.
Anything else y'all want to talk about? Things that you learned, things you noticed?
There was one wordage choice that when Madame Beals talks about being a cripple a couple of times, that just kind of made me be like, I don't know that people really use that word too much anymore. Like maybe a different way of describing a disability that's just a little more,
Relatable.
yeah, a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, not politically
Like
correct, but like, you know what I'm
like
saying? Just people don't really like toss around that word too much anymore. That was just a thought that came to mind.
Maybe like just say like immobile.
I don't know.
Disabled or
but and maybe like just thinking maybe like an older person would say that just because you know they're older, they're not always so PC. But yeah.
We just say what we want.
I think somebody, maybe the detective says it too at one point.
Yeah, he says cripple.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, when I originally read that on the script, I was like, couldn't I just say disabled?
Okay. Okay.
Limited mobility, rheumatoid arthritis.
Allison, did you have something?
Yeah, I would just love to ask from the director's perspective, what do you think Jennifer's real like character journey is?
Well, I always thought I named her after, of course, Jennifer Beals from
Yeah, I
Flashpoint.
got that.
Yeah, and that's why it's Madam Beals, and her
Mhm.
first name is Jennifer. Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
love
I
that.
wanted to make her kind of tough, tomboyish, but kind of like an asshole, but still likable, because the audience has to root for the main character.
Yeah.
So it's about going for your dreams, working as hard as you can to achieve them. At the end, she becomes the final girl and goes kind of nuts and crazy herself.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Kind of
Maybe
like
part two, she's in a mental hospital. Who knows?
Black Swan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, Black Swan, where she like
Right.
she in pursuit of this excellence, she
Yes.
loses her mind.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned because, like, you know, I thought that there was this connection starting to happen between Jennifer and Mike, right? There's kind of this flirtation. And like you say, she kind of like goes a little batshit crazy toward the end because when Madam Beals is like, oh, you know, by the way, Mike committed suicide, she was just kind of like, oh shit, you don't say. Like you know what I mean? I was waiting for the reaction of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, wait, you know what? And she just kind of was like, well, shit happens, like moving on. Do I got this part or what? Like, let's do it. So that really threw me. I was like, wow, okay. She really wanted that part, you know? So that was good. I like that kind of twist.
Nice.
I thought the detective, what was his name? Steven?
Mike
No.
Macey.
Mike Macey.
Yeah. So you did really good. In fact, when you were like your beats, I felt were on point, and there were moments that were like making me chuckle. And then when it got to the point where you're talking about the cream, I just started belting out laughing. It was just funny to me, like just the way you were saying it. I was just like, I know this is probably really inappropriate, but it's so funny to me. I don't know. I thought it was great.
When I first read that in the script, Monique, I just died laughing. I thought that was the funniest damn thing. Lactose intolerant cream? What the hell?
Well, he knows
Like
like
the way
the
you
exact
delivered it.
percentage of 33%.
The way it was the way you delivered it, and it was just like so perfect. And I was just like, I was like holding like my mouth because I was just like, I didn't want to like, you know, I'm like, is this a serious part? Because this is really funny to me.
I immediately threw me back to a Quentin Tarantino film, the way it was written. I mean, I think you could probably see this film as probably a cult favorite, I think, long term.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially with all the dancers here. Well, and you know, there's dancers all over the world. I feel like it would just hit home for so many people because it's like, you know, there's not any horror movies about dance or
I think we
not
gotta
any
get
good.
like awesome choreographer and some like really great dancers that are also actors to like make it like because I know Matt likes Flashdance. Like make it just like cult favorite like that where like dancers watch it forever. Like,
Very cool.
Then the choreography and the dancers have to be like on point for sure. Not no pun intended on point. Awesome. All right. Anybody want to share anything else? Anything else they learned?
I'm ready
Matt,
for some more
did,
cat butt
did you
videos.
learn anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yes, I learned a lot more typos than I thought. But I think the dialogue mostly sounds very natural, which I was happy to hear. Because I never heard it read out loud before, just in my mind. So that was cool. Thank you guys for that, and good job with your performances.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Please, you should have everybody's phone number, not your phone numbers, emails on that little chain. So stay in touch. This is a circle of people, of creatives that you now have connection with. All right. This business is all about having those connections. So meet each other, use each other for auditions and reads and whatever, but stay in touch with each other because it is a network. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for
Thank you,
being a part
Ashley.
of it.
Thank you,
I
Matt.
Thank you, Ashley.
I hope to see
Yeah.
y'all's auditions for A Million Little Things. We have lots of roles to fill. So please come do it with us. The read will be Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday afternoon for West Coasters because I'm trying to not have my poor Morgan sleeping.
I'm so sleepy. I'm normally tired.
Morgan and Katelyn, it's almost midnight over there. So it's going to be from 12 to 3 Pacific time. Okay, so that kind of gives it a little bit earlier for my East Coasters.
And
And
it's a Thursday, right?
it'll be a Wednesday,
Wednesday.
November 6th. And Arizona folks, Phoenix folks, that's after the time change. So it'll be from 1 to 4 for us. Okay. I post everything Pacific time just to keep it consistent since Arizona is so confusing.
So at 12 to 3, and I get off right at 3. So
12 to 3 Pacific, babe. Pacific.
but I'm in standard, so that's gonna make it 3 to 5 for me.
Yeah.
Right, but I get off directly at 3, so that might not work.
Well,
for
we
me.
can talk. We can talk about it. We need to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, you
All right,
guys. I will
thanks,
keep
guys.
you.
It was great working
I
with y'all.
appreciate
Great
you
working
all
with you
showing
guys.
up,
Thank you.
working hard.
Good job, everybody. Thank
you
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.